on the ground. Sailing on my midnight, still broke, living on the ground.
A little bit of T-Rex for you to start our show on this Wednesday morning, the 6th of May. It's a song called Hot Rod Mama, and it comes from the album that went number one on the UK charts on this day in 1972. 54 years ago, on May the 6th, 1972, Tyrannosaurus Rex, or T-Rex as we like to call them, released a double album, or it went number one, this double album. Are you ready for it? Prophets, seers, and sages, and the angels of the ages, my people, were fair and had sky in their hair, but now they're content to wear stars on their brows. All of that was the title of the T-Rex album that went number one in the UK on this day in 1972. I'll take another deep breath and tell you that album title again. Prophets, seers, and sages, and the angels of the ages, my people, were fair and had sky in their hair, but now they're content to wear stars on their brows. At the time, it was the longest ever title of an album, not only to reach number one, but period. Shocking with a title like that. Good Wednesday morning. As mentioned, it is the 6th of May. Thank you so much for being here. I just have one question for you. Are you ready? I mean, are you ready for what's happening tonight? I get the feeling that you are, because let me tell you, I got to spend the evening last night with Junior Achievement JA, Southwestern Ontario, and their annual Waterloo Region Entrepreneurs Hall of Fame event. It was a great night, recognized and inducted Dean McIntyre of the McIntyre Group and the founders of Alert Labs here in the region. Terrific folks who have done incredible things, great stories to share. It was a wonderful night, but while I was there to MC the proceedings, I lost track truly of the number of people that wanted to talk about the Kitchener Rangers. The minute I walked into that room at Bingham's, people were saying, how about those Rangers? Oh, I'm glad the Rangers schedule worked out so that you could be here tonight, and so on and so forth. And there was a lot of talk about this hockey team. They even had in their silent auction last night at our Waterloo Region Entrepreneur Hall of Fame dinner a stick that was signed by this year's edition of the Kitchener Rangers. And you can imagine how many bids were put on that stick last night because, you know, this team, this current Rangers team, is about to begin the OHL Championship. There are only two teams left, and our Kitchener Rangers are one of them. And we get home ice for the final that opens tonight. I'm trying to contain myself. I'm going to focus on the show. We've got lots to talk about, lots of great guests, lots of time for us to interact on the show. Phone lines open the minute we began at 519-570-2545, star 570, and 1-800-570-5715. But let me just say, game day, baby. OHL Championship, game day. It's a big day here in the region. Let's go to the phones. Dave is with us, Farwell's Force, member number 47. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning, Mike. The luck of the Irish rode the coattails of the Leprechaun as they strolled down Yonge Street last night.
You lost me, Dave. You lost me completely. Yonge Street in Toronto?
Correct.
And who was the Leprechaun? What Irish luck are we getting?
The first round pick.
First overall pick, Dave. Number one overall. Gavin McKenna is going to be a Maple Leaf, right?
Right, and he's going to play alongside Matthews to feed in the puck, and Matthews will score 70 this season. But
Dave, don't we need like a goaltender and some defensemen? I mean, what are we doing? We don't need another guy that can score goals, do we?
we need Matthews to score 70.
Okay. All right.
Great day, and let's go Rangers also.
Thanks, Dave. I appreciate the call. Yes, the Toronto Maple Leafs got the first overall NHL draft pick. The fix is in, right? Look, can I tell you something? Can I tell you something with complete and utter sincerity? I had this chat with my beloved last night, and believe me, I get it. I'm a Leafs fan, so it's very hard for me to get too much Leafs coverage. But I recognize that if you are not a fan of the Leafs, it can be exhausting, if not downright annoying, because every time you turn on the radio, every time you turn on your television, every time you read your sports section, the Toronto Maple Leafs dominate. And why? Not because they're any good, but because they are in the largest media market in the country. And frankly, it would be good if they were good, right? Because there are tens of millions of Maple Leafs fans. So, again, as I understand how annoying it must be, I mean, look at what I do on this show, right? I'm constantly singing the praises of the Toronto Maple Leafs. If you're not a fan of the team, you probably just roll your eyes. Oh, there goes Farwell again, him and his dumb Maple Leafs, right? I totally get it. But if we're being honest here, I'm speaking to you from the perspective of somebody who is in this industry, and I'm here to tell you that if the Maple Leafs do well, and I know I have to say if, but if they do, that's good for everybody. It really is. It's going to be good for the game because there will be so many more eyeballs on the games, including the teams that the Leafs are playing. It'll be good for broadcast viewership and listenership and revenues associated. It'll just be good all around. I'm sorry, but that's the cold, hard reality of it. You don't have to like the team, but if it was actually any damn good, it would be good for everybody, including hockey in general and the National Hockey League specifically. I'm putting that out there for you. And yeah, we did get the first overall pick. And sure, we got that with Austin Matthews a few years ago too. How's that working out for us, Maple Leafs fans, huh? How's that working out for us? Mike is with us. Farwell's Force, member number 335. Good morning, Mike.
Mikey.
Hey, Mikey.
Did Matt's bring us a little bit of luck in here or what?
I don't know. Dave said it was Irish luck. I thought Matt's was Swedish.
I know, but maybe it was Matt's. But
yeah.
No, Mikey, we don't make the playoffs, but I guess the silver lining is we get the first pick overall. We're going to get a good player either way, whoever we take.
Are we, though? You remember John Chayka completely mucked it up in Arizona, right?
I know, but...
Oh, yeah, okay, but now he's going to be fine. Sure, now he knows what he's doing. Stop
maybe Matt's will take over.
Yeah.
A good pick, Mike, and the Rangers, let's go, baby.
That's what I want to hear. Let's go. All right.
Hey, Mikey.
Thanks, Mike. Good to hear from you today. We are starting the OHL Championship tonight. I could not possibly care less what's going on with the Toronto Maple Leafs right now. I could not possibly care less if they were able to draft his Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ himself, with that first overall pick. Okay, am I allowed to say that? Did I just say that? I don't care if they draft the Lord's Son with the first overall pick. It doesn't matter to me because it's game day, baby. OHL Championship, game day. Frank, Farwell's Force, member number 365. Good morning.
Good morning. I'm back, baby.
What does that mean?
That means I'm looking for a Rangers ticket, and I had a real hard time yesterday on that website. But you know what? Next best thing is I can catch a watch party. So would you know if there is one being held at the Edelweiss tonight? And I heard something about a draw for a Game 5 ticket, such craziness.
Frank, your guess is as good as mine. I have not heard of the watch party, but if there is one, please let me know. Our friends at Moose Winooski's have been pretty good at having watch parties during the playoffs. Maybe they've got one going on. Bill, paging my buddy Bill over at the Moose. Let me know, because at this point, I am blissfully unaware. Although I haven't checked my phone since 6 o'clock when I got here a little late. I had to shoot some content this morning. I'm talking in behind the scenes now, right? But I got here about 6:30 this morning, and I haven't checked my phone since. So if Bill, you can just call instead of text me. Whatever. If there's a watch party, let me know, okay? But Frank, listen, you also know that there's one place, and one place only, that you can get every single, and I mean every single, Kitchener Rangers game that is played, and that is right here on your home of Kitchener Rangers hockey, 570 News Radio. Unfortunately, our friends at Rogers TV Cable 20 are no longer a part of the OHL coverage because when we shift into the championship series, the national networks come in and take over. So you're going to have to go find the television broadcast somewhere up in the 500s, I think, on your dial, which is really frustrating or unfortunate. But you always get the games right here on 570 News Radio. Josh Piercy and I will start your pregame show tonight, brought to you by Harris Law at 6:30. We got you covered. Don't worry about it. But if there's a watch party, let me know. And whoever's running the ding-dang watch party, how about you just put it on the screen and turn up the radio? Hey, because, Moose Winooski's especially good partners of our Rangers broadcast. Just putting it out there for you. Doug, good morning. You're on 570 News Radio.
Hello, Mike.
Hello, Douglas.
You mentioned perspective.
Oh, I got something for you, buddy.
Well, I'll tell you. When you look at a team that was in excess of 100 points, or even approaching it in today's NHL, that makes them a good team. The unfortunate part of the Leafs was that poor the Panthers, poor Boston Bruins, were better. Anyhow, I'm really what's the word? I'm not quite sure what the heck is going on or where they're going to go. But, I've been a fan for 60 years. I'm not going to stop now.
Well, yeah.
Bigger deal is Friday. I can't wait for that.
For what? For
Friday. Or tomorrow. What am I talking about tonight?
Oh, okay.
Rangers.
Doug, do me a favor. You're driving right now, right?
I'm so.
Take your head out of your ass while you're driving, Doug. Jiminy Christmas. All right. I appreciate the call. I get it. Did I just say that? Have I done two? Is the Canadian Standards broadcast? Whatever. So, come on. Did you hear? I know we're used to Friday games. It's Wednesday, but it's game day. That's all you got to know. Poor Doug. Don't drive anywhere near Doug right now. I don't know what's going on with him. Speaking of perspective, I would like to thank Louisa D'Amato in this morning's Waterloo Region Record for reminding me that I've been a little negligent in reminding you, because Louisa had an excellent column in today's Waterloo Region Record about the pay raises that are coming to councils clear across this community. Look, we've covered them as they were voted upon. The current councillors didn't vote them for themselves, but they will take effect in the next term. There is an election later this year. Many of those people who voted for those raises are running again, so they will get those raises if they are successful. You, of course, have the choice to not make them successful, but there were the raises across the board that have already been voted for. And then, of course, there was the most egregious of all that showed a complete and utter lack of perspective, no understanding whatsoever, in my opinion, when our regional councillors voted for an 89% increase for the chairs of committees on regional council. Just think about it. Sure, the chair puts in some extra work. Staff does most of the work. We all know this. But if you're chairing the meeting, there is some added responsibility for which you were already being paid $7,400 extra. But regional council decided those committee chairs needed another $5,500 on top of that $7,400 because, they go to meetings at 7:30 in the morning and stuff. Did you hear me say earlier that I got here a little late today because I did some content on the way to work, so I got here at 6:30? Like, y'all know, when you go to regional council, right, when you drive to 150, 250, whatever the hell you go to on Frederick Street, when you drive there are other people that went on the road hours before. Like, you know what you should do? You should get up at 5 o'clock in the morning sometime and just get out on the expressway and see how many hardworking people in this community are already on their way to work. But that's okay. You go to early meetings. We get it. So you need an 89% increase to be the chair of a committee. I got a little fired up there. The point is, and what Louisa's column reminded me of, is I should be reminding you every day that council is taking this raise for committee chairs, 89% increase, and there is still opportunity for council to change course on that. They can bring forward another motion and overturn this decision that was made a couple of weeks ago. It's easy. It's that easy. You don't have to take it. You can say, you know what? We made a boo-boo here. We were a little bit lacking in the perspective department. It's not too late, Regional Council. It's not too late to reverse course on the egregious 89% increase for committee chairs. $7,400 extra for chairing a meeting, however many meetings you chair over the course of a year. $7,400 extra to do that. I think you're doing okay. There are a lot of people in this community that would love an additional $7,400 for other duties as assigned on top of their current jobs. Just remember, a lot of hardworking folks in this community. Bring forward a motion, get rid of that raise. Do the right thing. Thanks to Louisa for reminding me. All right, let's get to your Farwell Show 5 for this Wednesday morning, the 6th of May. Number 1, the gong will ring again at our local cancer center. The Waterloo Regional Health Network says the symbolic gong was returned to Wren at Midtown yesterday afternoon, just in time for a patient to ring it as he finished his cancer treatment. That patient, by the way, our good buddy Jeff, Farwell's Force member number 19, got to bang that gong. Number 2, incumbent Mayor Jan Liggett will seek a second term in Cambridge. Liggett joins current councillor Scott Hamilton and BIA executive Brian Kennedy in the mayoral race in Cambridge. A mayoral hopeful in Wilmot, Stephanie Goertz, joins our show this morning at 9:30. Number 3 on your Farwell Show 5 today, the City of Cambridge has reached a new agreement with regional police establishing a new shared bylaw dispatch service, which will allow WRPS to take calls and dispatch support for municipal bylaw officers. Cambridge has also approved CCTV cameras in select public spaces to improve safety, help prevent crime, and support investigations. Number 4, Regional Council wants to start setting aside money for our new hospital in Waterloo. Regional Councillor Natasha Salonen brought forward the motion yesterday, recommending a special hospital local share levy.
Even though we still don't have the full number, we know it is a huge ask coming in the hundreds of millions of dollars. We need to get this on our books, and the sooner we start saving for these things, the more interest that we can earn if we invest that money, so the less tax dollars actually have to go towards this. I'm really just looking for financial best practice. We know the ask is coming, and frankly, the 0.5% of the annual tax-supported budget as a special local share hospital levy in even 3 or 4 years, we're not going to raise the full amount that we know that we require. So I would be asking for it actually to be that staff refer it to the 2027 budget process, and that it actually be dealt with during the budget process, because you cannot ask this kind of tax increase in year.
Salonen's motion was unanimously approved, despite concerns it may not generate enough revenue and worries that improvements at Cambridge Memorial Hospital would be ignored. And number 5 on your Farwell Show 5 this morning, Joyful Vendors presents its Foundry Spring Market this weekend in Baden. The market features local vendors for Friday night glows on Friday and Saturday blooms on Saturday. I should start saying Saturday the way my mom says it. Saturday. That's the way she used to say it. Anyway, Saturday blooms on Saturday. You can support small business and find unique local gifts at the weekend markets at 140 Foundry Street in Baden.
Bueller.
And that is your Farwell Show 5 for this Wednesday morning. Your morning wake-up call is coming. Steve, hang in there with me. We'll get to you right after this break on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Oh, I got fired up coworkers who are not Leafs fans. They're not. I'm telling you, don't hate the player, hate the game. But it's good for the game if the Leafs are good. I'm telling you how it is. That's what I do on the show. I tell you how it is. Hey, Regional Council, give back the 89% increase for council committee chairs, okay? Just give it back. It's easy. See, I tell you how it is on this show. Steve wants to tell you how it is, too. Has he ever been patient? Farwell's Force, member number 226. Good morning, Steve.
Morning, Mike. How are you?
Thanks for waiting. I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. You're looking great, by the way.
Oh, you just see, I got my Kitchener Rangers hoodie on today, huh?
So you should.
Attaboy.
I was just talking to Dave Schill over at the Edelweiss. He said it's not a watch party tonight. This is for Frank and for anybody else who cares. There's not a watch party tonight, but the game will be on. It's not a watch party because they're at home, so they don't want to compete with ticket sales. Not that they're not going to sell out, but yeah. So the game will be on at the Edelweiss, and it will be on in my house as well. Attaboy.
Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike. Have a great day.
You too. Great to hear from you. So there you go. The away games, that makes some sense. Okay. I wanted to share this with you because, boy, oh boy, is it ever interesting when you can keep the receipts, right? So if you haven't heard, there are reports that Honda is putting the brakes on that $15 billion electric vehicle plant in Alliston. It was almost 2 years ago to this day. It was April of 2024, so a little more than 2 years ago. But do you remember when Ontario Premier Doug Ford and then Prime Minister Justin Trudeau were in Alliston talking about the combined $5 billion that our provincial and federal governments were going to, quote unquote, invest in this EV facility in Alliston? And there were questions like, we always talk about this, you know, corporate bailouts, that sort of thing, corporate welfare, etc. Again, it's a wonderful world when you can easily find the receipts. Here's what Premier Ford and former Prime Minister Trudeau had to say at the time.
Today's announcement of Honda's estimated $15 billion investment with its joint venture partners will be a game changer for the industry. Once built and operational, Honda's massive new electric vehicle plant and EV battery facility here in Alliston will employ more than 4,200 people and have the production capacity to produce up to 240,000 electric vehicles each and every year.
There is a debate ongoing in politics right now, and the Conservative Party of Canada would have us not make this investment today. It's a legitimate debate, but I think they're wrong. Yes, there are politicians who sit back and say, no. We've got to balance the budget at all costs, even if it means not investing in Canadian workers and investing in the future. Well, I think they're wrong. So I'm incredibly pleased to be able to be here with a progressive conservative like Doug Ford, who understands that investing in workers, investing in manufacturing, investing in the future of Ontario is how you build a strong economy for today and for the coming decades.
So out of curiosity, was it the federal Conservative Party that was wrong 2 years ago? No. Oh, that was like nails on a chalkboard to me. I'd forgotten how difficult it was to sometimes listen to our former Prime Minister. Look, I don't think any of the $5 billion committed by the province or the feds is gone. We'll just take it off the books because, again, it sounds like Honda is putting the brakes on that EV facility in Alliston. There go all the jobs that we were, quote unquote, investing in a couple of years ago. I'm going to get you an update from the 570 News Center, and then let's meet the woman who would like to be the mayor of Wilmot Township. This is the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Well, the campaign only officially began last Friday, May the 1st. That was the first day upon which anyone hopeful of winning a seat on a local council or school board could file their nomination papers and make official their declaration that they are running for a given seat. And on that first day to file nomination papers last Friday, not one, not two, but three candidates have put their names forward to be the mayor of Wilmot Township. Incumbent Natasha Salonen is seeking a second term. Current councillor Chris Wilkinson, who represents Ward 2, would like to become mayor. And the third name in that race is Stephanie Goertz, who joins us on the show this morning to talk about it. Stephanie, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing 5 days into this venture?
Oh, it's gonna be a long 6 months, but I'm energized and ready to go. I'm eager. I've been doing campaigning and, at the forefront for not-for-profit and housing and, working in our community for the last 4 years. So 6 more months of campaigning is easy.
Why do you want to be mayor of Wilmot Township?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big question. So what I've seen in the last 4 to 8 years while living in Wilmot Township is I've worked with a lot of community groups, Citizens for Safe Groundwater, Nist Valley Eco Boosters, Let's Tree Wilmot, 50 by 30, and I've spent the 4 years previous to this delegating and talking to council and trying to persuade our council to look to our community to do better and to listen to the voices of people in our community, and have felt even the last 8 years ago our voices weren't heard. So now with this upcoming election happening, I've been dedicating more time to building the not-for-profit that I've created. But I've still been watching. I've still been listening to the local citizens and the people in their community and watching as their voices continue not to be heard. And I've been watching so many dedicated people, become disengaged and realizing so much time and energy they've put in, they don't feel it's making a difference. And so at this election, I feel that, it's my time to step up because I see the problem, I see the issue, and I know I have the capacity. But I want to take on the challenge of running for mayor and becoming mayor, and knowing that I can help be the voice of the people in our community and recognize how important it is and how beneficial it is to bring the people together from Wilmot Township to tackle many of the large challenges we're facing right now.
If indeed folks in Wilmot feel as though they are not being heard, how would you ensure that they are being heard?
Yeah, absolutely. So in the last 4 years, I think I've really shown that how I can bring people together with creating grassroots response to the Ukrainian crisis, starting up in Wilmot Township, and within 5 days, we had 100 people sitting at roundtable discussions, hashing out how we can come together, what problems we can solve, what people in the community actually felt the root issues were, and what the people in the community felt the solutions were. And I've continued that over the last 4 years across the region and actually into Ontario. And, it's working with the churches and the service groups and actually stepping back and ensuring that people's voices, are the solutions, right? That acknowledging the importance of the knowledge out there. I know personally, when we were delegating before council regarding the Holloman pit and other issues, we went out there and we researched, we paid for experts, all of that, right? So I think it really goes back to ensuring that there's a clear voice, so creating more committees, ensuring that there's more conversations happening in our community. That's really been major problem as well is with 770 land. They haven't really, and the water taking, the community hasn't felt there's been community engagement at the municipal level, even though they might be regional issues, but what have they done to actually bring people together and saying that even though it's a regional issue, we still stand together as a municipality.
Does that mean every resident gets their own way, though? Because at some point, council is going to have to make some hard decisions, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's, with the not-for-profit I've built, no, not everyone gets their own way, right? But we still value people's contributions to the community. And it'll be up to each councillor how they engage with. I can't dictate as mayor how people in the community connect with their residents, but I do know that people in Wilmot are not happy how communication has been released to us, as well as how our feedback has been valued, and if there's been actually any decision-making based on how us as a community have felt.
You mentioned earlier, Steph, the big problems or the big challenges that Wilmot faces. What are those challenges that you see the township facing?
Yeah, absolutely. 770, the land mega site in Wilmot Township has been a huge issue within Wilmot, not only because of, I don't even know where to start. So, it's the location that's a problem. It's because of the issue with eating up the farmland. Ontario only has 1% of prime farmland, and this was, a site that was picked and on prime farmland. It only selected 7 boxes out of the 44 the provincial site selection criteria. So, really questions why that site was selected, as well as really close to the Shingletown wells that draw water for the region. When you're looking at water aquifer and recharging our water at a time when we seem to be struggling with ensuring that we have enough water for the region of Waterloo, as well as contamination of the salt on the ground being used, and what would that site even be used for? So 770 is a big issue with where it's been selected, but then also how our municipal council and the regional council has moved forward to suddenly jump into Wilmot Township and then demand farmers to sell their property within 10 days, or that, really, I guess the residents and the farmers have felt really bulldozed. And, so that's a major issue going forward. I still know that, some of the farmers did sell their properties, but there's still some that are holding out. And so it's going to be the next steps of what the new council will be looking at, as well as the water taking issues and looking at how the 1980 agreement regarding how much water the region could be taking from Wilmot, to know that for the last 6 years they've been taking excess water without letting us know, and saying it was a test, and how, not showing us any data, or, what data did they collect before they decided to make this test, what data were they collecting during and then afterwards. And so there's residents in Shingletown that have been struggling with their water. One well went down over 50 feet and had to re-drill their wells. Other people have had black water coming out of their pipes and had to run 3 or 4 bathtubs full of water to make sure they can bath their children. This is in Waterloo region, and this is during a time when these tests were occurring, and citizens had no clue why all this was happening. And now when they phone the region and tell them about their issues and problems, because now they realize that, it's these houses are all within where the region has been pulling more water from. And, they have someone coming out and inspecting their holding tanks and inspecting their water tanks and inspecting their equipment. And residents are saying, no, it can't be all of our equipment suddenly there's a deficiency in. So there's been that. And, where is our municipality and our council standing up for citizens and being a spokesperson at the regional level to regional council is huge. And then the third thing, the topic is our taxes. Huge. 2 years ago, our staff and our council suggested that our taxes be raised by 50%. That is huge. So after citizens spoke up, it did get, reduced down to 21%. And then this year, our mayor decided to use strong mayor powers to do the budget with her and staff alone, without the proper process of what we normally do with citizen engagement and more council engagement, to understanding that, what the citizens in the community needs and wants is being reflected in the budget. So the taxes this year went up by 9%, which is not a huge jump as what it was last year, but still it's going to keep raising up. And so I think those are some of the 3 issues that we'll be really looking at. There was still opportunity, though, for folks to delegate during the budget process. I remember watching them. Like, that still happened. Yeah. Half of the budget was already done. I delegated. And during that time, staff stood up and said, citizens don't actually need to see line by line. Because what was released to us was a PowerPoint presentation made with general, couple lines of the data, right? That doesn't really give us in depth of where money is being spent, what is the percentage of increases, So after some conversation, so once Mayor Solomon released the budget, I think we had 15 days to review everything. During that time, we were still waiting for staff to actually finally release the full budget lines after they were asked to do that. That doesn't give much time for citizens to actually delve into the budget, within 10 days, right? To look at line by line where we're spending our money and how we're allocating things. So, 10 days really isn't really citizen engagement in our budget.
On the land assembly, Steph, you're right. There have been a couple holdouts, but the region, or maybe the province, who's probably financially backing this, but regardless, the region owns 70 to 80% of that 770. And your point, I feel awful for those folks whose water has been impacted and the challenges that they're facing. But Regional Council has voted to continue that water taking and overturn that 1980 agreement. So what are you proposing that you would do as mayor? Like, how you're not suggesting you can reverse those things?
No, absolutely not. No, absolutely not. They are correct. It's regional decisions. But I think it's also about information and relationship building. I don't believe that many of the regional councillors have been informed enough about the impact that's happening in Wilmot Township. I doubt that many of them know about the water quality and the financial strain that's happening on residents, as well as, how close that 770 is, like within a block or two, or within, a township block of where the water taking is happening. And what does it actually mean for the amount of chemicals that we put on that, and whatever's developed there, right? We don't know what's going to be developed. There's no plan. There's nothing in place. We've been told nothing. So I think it's about better advocacy. It's about someone that can stand up and have a clear voice for our township and our residents. Our residents have clearly said they understand the regional issues. They just want council and our mayor to say, look, we're with you, right? We believe that this really isn't the best site for business development. Like I said, they've only marked off 7 boxes of the 44 of the site criteria. There's 1,100 acres in Eastlands near their airport that has infrastructure, water, has, near the airport.
But they're not going to change their mind, right? Like, again, I just want to, okay.
Yeah.
I just don't want anybody in Wilmot to maybe misunderstand and think that the 770 is not, because it seems pretty much a done deal, right?
So they don't have a plan for the 770. So what, so right now, sure, let's just say the region gets all the land, but maybe we can persuade the region, but what are some better choices to use for the land than some mega site, right? We need to inform the region, understand the health ramifications and the environmental ramifications and just the traffic and all that stuff. We don't even have at our township enough water infrastructure to run water to that facility. We've maxed out in our development. Our water and wastewater facilities can only do maybe around 10,000 capacity for people. We've already maxed out our developments around that. So if we're going to create a mega site, that means we need to spend millions of dollars to run water from the region of Waterloo out to this mega site in order to make sure that there's enough water capacity for it. So we're going to draw water from the Shingletown and wells and then pump it out to Mannheim and then pump it back out through a large pipe. There needs to be some thought process and understanding what it actually means in Wilmot to have a huge site there. So they don't have any plans. They haven't released anything. So maybe perhaps we can influence them in what their decision-making is for how they will use that land.
On the budget, Steph, the tax increases that you made reference to, what choices are you willing to make if you were to be elected as mayor to save taxpayers' money? Where are you going to look to find savings?
Absolutely. So I believe strongly in collaboration and knowledge sharing across Ontario and across Canada, municipalities. There's a lot of resources and tools out there, and I think there needs to be better outside-the-box thinking of how do we utilize our resources better, what tax savings there are, as well as when we look at how do we say, we're always looking at how do we cut costs or save money, but we need to be looking at how do we generate more revenue as well. That's the factor in there. So, for example, I know that our township just fired our grant writer, and I understand that sometimes when you write provincial and federal grants, township has to pay 50% of the money and costs and all stuff. But there are a lot of grants out there. As a not-for-profit, I write grants consistently. And then we also need to look at how do we generate revenue at our community centers. Right now, many of them are in a deficit, and so they're looking to closing some instead of looking at how do we connect with our communities in Mannheim and New Dundee and St. Agatha and saying, as a community, how can we ensure that we're generating revenue with these community centers? So, like I said, there's different ways. And then as well, small businesses. So Wilmot is focused a lot on building houses, which is a drain on our infrastructure and our tax base, versus revenue generating of small businesses. So we do need to encourage more small and medium-sized businesses, as well as our farmers are one of our biggest tax revenue generators because they don't have a cost of running infrastructure out to them. So we do need to look at how do we encourage more small and medium-sized businesses to come into Wilmot Township that will, because they pay more in their taxes and everything.
Steph, I appreciate the time on the show this morning. Very best of luck in the campaign.
Thank you so much.
Stephanie Goertz, one of the mayoral hopefuls in Wilmot Township, one of three. Current Councillor Chris Wilkinson and incumbent Mayor Natasha Salonen also in that race. But you hear this morning what Ms. Goertz's plans are should she become Mayor of Wilmot. This is the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
I can't dictate as mayor how people in the community connect with their residents, but I do know that people in Wilmot are not happy how communication has been released to us, as well as how our feedback has been valued, and if there's been actually any decision-making based on how us as a community have felt.
That is Stephanie Goertz, one of three mayoral hopefuls in Wilmot Township. Stephanie announced her candidacy last Friday, the first day upon which any hopeful election candidates could do so. And she joins Chris Wilkinson, current councillor, and Natasha Salonen, the incumbent mayor, in a three-way race in Wilmot Township. There is also a three-way race for mayor in the city of Cambridge, as incumbent Jan Liggett has filed her papers as of Monday. She did that. Brian Kennedy, who works at the BIA or leads the BIA, is another candidate for mayor of Cambridge. And Scott Hamilton, a current councillor, is also a candidate for mayor of Cambridge. We had Scott Hamilton on the show just yesterday. In Waterloo, Mayor Dorothy McCabe looks to win a second term as mayor there. And getting interesting in Woolwich, because we know that incumbent Mayor Sandy Shantz has announced that she will not be seeking a fourth term. A couple of current councillors have put their names forward as possible mayor. Evan Burgess and Eric Schwint are both running for mayor of Woolwich. In North Dumfries, Rod Rolleman, who is an existing current councillor, has put forward his name for mayor. No word yet from incumbent Sue Foxton as to her plans. And just getting back to Waterloo in a moment, I mentioned just a second ago that Dorothy McCabe is seeking a second term as mayor. A number of names are starting to appear for ward councillors. And in Ward 5 in Waterloo, already two names are forward. So you have options. And so just when it comes to the Ward 5 race in the city of Waterloo, I just want to remind you of the slogan here on this show, and that is to keep Ward 5 in Waterloo scot-free. Victoria Richardson's name is already there. I think that would be an excellent choice in Ward 5 in Waterloo. The other candidate has, I don't think, much record to stand on from his time as a public school board trustee. But hey, if you get a visit at your door from somebody in Waterloo's Ward 5 who says, I've been on the school board for 8 years, ask him how that's gone for him and how much money was spent on litigation and hiring and firing a former education director, etc. I think you'd do well with Victoria Richardson in Ward 5 in Waterloo. This is the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Every Wednesday morning, just after our 10 a.m. update, we turn our attention to Ottawa, and specifically the only reporter-owned and operated newsroom covering our nation's capital. That would be the Blacklocks Reporter. You'll find it online, blacklocks.ca, and you will find it well worth the subscription price. We pay for quality journalism. The managing editor with the Blacklocks Reporter, Tom Korski, joins us for these weekly chats. Tom, good morning.
Morning, Mike.
Mary Simon, we hardly knew you. What do we know about Louise Arbour, our new Governor General?
Well, she has a sort of a political history that irritates some public office holders. But I think the most striking quality that Ms. Arbour has is she's 79. That's very old for an appointee. She would be the first octogenarian in Rideau Hall. She's way beyond the age of any previous appointee as Governor General. Her oldest predecessor, some old-timers may recall, Georges Vanier, he died in office at 78. 79 is too old, Mike. I know they call that ageism. I'm a graybeard myself, so I get to say this frankly. I'm not 79, but I can sense my mental acuity diminishing as the sun arcs across the sky. You get me 8 o'clock at night, I will sign anything you put in front of me. If you say it's okay, Mike, I'm doing it. Yeah. No, this is not the person I want as the Commander-in-Chief of the Canadian Armed Forces.
Okay, what about the interim director at Parks Canada, who is promising more proactive fire prevention this season?
They don't like to talk about the Jasper fire and their culpability in it because they blamed it on climate change, people may recall. This was the truly 2024 fire. No fatalities, but it burned a third of the town to the ground. And it was, at the moment, described, attributed to climate change. Cabinet famously came out and said, oh, look at Jasper. Right? What did the Minister of Emergency Preparedness say, Harjit Sajjan, in the day? Sadly, the community of Jasper was a victim of climate change, he said, quote, end of quote. No, actually, Parks Canada left 500,000 acres of dead pine in that forest and did not do controlled burns or cutting. And they never explained why or why they cut their fire budget 23% before the town burned to the ground. Now, of course, the horse is gone, so it's time to close the door. Parks Canada has a new CEO testifying at Senate National Finance Committee. We're going to try harder on forest management. By the way, Mike, like we're talking, this is not rocket science. This is literally 19th century forest management techniques. They just didn't do it.
Well, and that's the thing. We knew what forest management meant, was all about, and frankly, I mean, maybe I can say it this way, were we not a wee bit on the negligent side here?
Oh, there are people, we're Canadian. This is getting close to the line on criminal liability. I am not a lawyer, my 2 cents, Mike. That's the definition of criminal liability. If this was in the United States, the class action lawyers would be lining up outside the courthouse. They knew what the problem was. We know they identified it. We saw it through internal emails, memos, reports. Got to get rid of those dead trees, and they wouldn't do it. And it was, of all people, the Canadian Forest Service that came with a report, an investigative report after Jasper, that said, what do you think was going to happen when you leave 500,000 acres of dead pine after a mountain pine beetle infestation? That's why you have to get rid of those trees. It's called a controlled burn. It worked great in the 1890s. It can work today. They just didn't do it.
Okay, if we had an account, and these are federal government agencies here, Employment and Social Development and the CRA, Canada Revenue Agency, and that account was hacked, now we are on the hook for the $9 million settlement? I'm a little confused. I mean, there's a lot of my money involved in this, Tom.
John Cusacker, taxpayer, once again, I know there's no novelty in this, once again gets to pay the freight. What happened? In the heyday of the 2020 pandemic relief payment programs, everyone famously remembers the 2000 Canada Emergency Response Benefit checks. There were hackers. It was a hacker's holiday, Mike. There were thousands, tens of thousands of accounts, my CRA accounts, that were hacked at the Canada Revenue Agency, some employment insurance, old age security accounts that were hacked at the Department of Employment. And this was discovered. And class action lawyers did get in on the action, and they just now got a settlement certified by a federal judge. Almost $9 million cash payments. Individual people who were harmed are up for damages of $80,000 to $5,000 per member of the class. It was like 48,000 revenue agency accounts, 6,000 My Service Canada accounts. You know the takeaway here, Mike? Feds have said for years they want everything to go digital because they think it's a money saving. And it's interesting that there's about about a quarter of Canadians have told them over and over, I'm not interested in electronic service. I will not give you my personal bank account information for direct deposit. We're going to do it in the old way, in part because of concerns about exactly what happened in this hacking incident.
I would count myself among that group, Tom, that says thanks, but no thanks. I mean, if this is your track record, why would I trust you with any of my information?
And in the day, they said, the chief information officer told reporters, this goes back to 2020, that summer, what a disastrous summer that was. And he told reporters, Mark Brouard was his name, he said, this is a complete success story, he said. You know, we have thousands of transactions every day. I quote him accurately. He was asked, isn't this a spectacular failure? Oh, no, quite the opposite. You know why it was a failure? This came out in court. The Canada Revenue Agency was warned by unidentified police agencies before the hack was confirmed that there was information selling on the dark web that said there was an anomaly in the CRA software. But CRA should have known that. Why? Because a month before the case blew open, there was a suspicious number of failed logins on Canada Revenue Agency My Account. Number one sign that hackers are at play. What did the feds do? Nobody, as Mel Lastman used to say, nobody did anything. And here we are, $8 million.
All right. I want to be clear on this next story because this is not coming from some partisan hack or some sort of conspiracy theorist. This is coming from our national spy agency, CSIS, which tells us that Chinese spy rings have been cultivating relationships with Canadian MPs?
Absolutely true. It is their annual report. This is not a gotcha moment. This is their annual report to Parliament. It's a very sober document. And in the document, what does it say? We continue to observe an evolution of China's espionage tactics, that's spying, main perpetrators of foreign interference and spying against Canada remain China. It goes on to say foreign actors undertake various activities targeting current and former Canadian politicians. What's their point? They also go after media and some other, institutions that we see here in Lumbertown. What's their point? They want to alter perceptions of China. Why is that interesting? Because the Minister of Foreign Affairs last January announced a new foreign policy emphasizing cooperation with China. What did Ms. Anand say? We should get to know them, she said. We are promoting broader people-to-people ties between our two countries, exploring opportunities for collaboration. Mike, that was right out of 1995. That boat has sailed, and it was sort of a cognitive dissonance. You have your number one spy agency telling Parliament, for the love of Pete, wake up. And Cabinet saying, what we need is more friendship. How is that?
Oh, I hope we listen to our spy agency. Please, from your lips and CSIS's reports to MP's ears here, Tom.
We can hope.
We can hope.
Little was learned, though, Mike. And there was, even after that Commission on Foreign Interference, the judge, who's now Deputy Minister of Justice in that case, in my opinion, my 2 cents, she made one error. She did not name names. They shrank from naming names. And so here we are still left with the theoretical. Which politicians are targeted by Chinese spies? Which media are on the hook? Who are they cultivating and why? Here we are, all these years later, still asking those basic questions.
Little was learned. Interesting turn of phrase there, Tom, because it ties into one more thing I want to talk to you about before I let you go. And I considered it when we were listening to our 10 a.m. update here at the station about one of our local mayors not exactly thrilled at the idea of having CCTV cameras installed around our community as a means of crime suppression, given what he has seen by way of surveillance in his Eastern European home country and how these things can go awry. And you at Blocklocks have a story about the very robust records that our federal parliament keeps on us and the things we say about our government?
The language here is slightly creepy, isn't it, Mike? This was a Deputy Sergeant-at-Arms testifying at really a no-account parliamentary committee hearing. And he was asked by some members of the government caucus about people who hurt my feelings on Facebook. And the Deputy Sergeant-at-Arms said, oh, yes, considerable. We keep, how did he put it, very robust records management systems on what people say about their MP, not the good things. When they hurt their feelings, the hurtful comments. I want to stress, Mike, these are not threats or harassment. You just call 911. That's already a crime. It's already taken care of. These are hurtful comments, he said, could be if they are misogynistic, etc., said Deputy Sergeant Paul Mellon. We asked them, what kind of files? How many files? Does this include proactive monitoring of Facebook posts? Maybe that people, that the House administration doesn't like? Security, top secret. It is we always tell, especially if you're of my generation, not Louis Arbour, but getting there, you feel sorry for people who are accustomed now to growing up and living in a surveillance state. But how's that? House administration keeping proactive files if you badmouthed your MP on Twitter. That's something.
I hope they can keep their themselves busy on social media, Tom, because if they ever ask for a transcript of this show, let me tell you, Korsky, you and I might get...
I don't want any trouble.
Tom, keep up the great work. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Mike.
Tom Korsky, managing editor at the Blacklocks Reporter, Canada's only reporter-owned and operated newsroom covering our nation's capital, joins us Wednesday mornings just after the 10 a.m. update here on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Well, as it turns out, tonight's hockey game at the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium is not the only big hockey game happening. I don't know, there's this thing called the NHL and the playoffs there that continue. I know all of our attention is going to be squarely on the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium, where our Rangers begin the quest to get 4 more wins. If the Rangers can get 4 more wins, they will win their first OHL championship since 2008 and book their tickets to the Memorial Cup in Kelowna. But I'm getting ahead of myself. It all starts tonight. Rangers versus the Barrie Colts at the Kitchener Memorial Auditorium. And you will hear pregame coverage beginning at 6:30 right here on your home of Kitchener Rangers hockey, 570 News Radio. I am sure you are as excited for tonight's game at the Aud as I am. But there are some other hockey games. One in particular that I want to focus on. Several of you and I have been going back and forth on email about this specific issue for quite some time. And I guess if I'm being honest with you, and it's the only way I know how to be, I could never really articulate this as well as I would have liked. But I think I'm big enough, and this might demonstrate that I am big enough to admit when somebody articulates it better. So I'm just going to pass the baton here on the show for a moment.
Not everyone's a jackwagon. Not every heart is cold. Not every promise made to you is gonna turn to gold and fold. Some people mean it when they say they care. Some folks will show up, actually be there. So don't close the door on every soul you meet. Not everyone's a jackwagon on this street.
Do you know who really does care? Care about us? The royal us here as Canadians? Buffalonians. That's who. Buffalo really cares about us here in Canada. But to articulate it far better than I can, I'm going to go to a Buffalonian himself, Kevin Polloway, who is a comedian and very articulate citizen of the city right across the border from Ontario.
So there's been a lot of noise made recently about the relationship between Buffalo, New York, and Canada. You've got Neanderthal pea-brains like Dave Portnoy who can't understand why we sing the Canadian national anthem when the Sabres are playing another American team like the Boston Bruins. Like, listen, I know we haven't made the playoffs in like 1,400 years. Maybe you're brand new to hockey, but we've done this literally for the franchise's entire existence since 1970. Then you have this Canadian newscaster perplexed why a bar full of Canadians would be rooting for an American team.
Believe it or not, this bar packed with Sabres fans isn't in Buffalo or anywhere in the United States. It's on Canadian soil.
Well, let me explain this to you. Western New York and Southern Ontario are the same metropolitan region. And frankly, borders are stupid, but that's a whole other thing. But if you grew up in Buffalo, you played hockey, you drank Labatt Blue and Molson probably from like age 12, you went to summer cottages on the lake in Canada and shows in Toronto. If you're from Ontario, you watched our news stations, you could perfectly pronounce our suburbs like Lackawanna, Cheektowaga, Tonawanda. You came to Buffalo for shopping, for wings, for Bills and Sabres games. Canada is literally a 5-minute drive from downtown Buffalo, directly across the river from the city's west side. We share the Peace Bridge, we share Niagara Falls, we share a very similar cultural vibe, we share general kindness, and we share some sports teams. Thousands of Canadians come across the border for every Sabres game. That's part of why we sing their national anthem. That and a general respect for our neighbors and the original innovators of this pretty awesome sport in the first place. 15% of Buffalo Bills season ticket holders are Canadian. And now the team is part owned by former Toronto Raptors stars Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady. When the Toronto Blue Jays couldn't travel across the border during COVID, where they play home games? Buffalo, home of their AAA club. The only time we really beef is when the Sabres play the Leafs or US plays Canada. Other Americans, usually people from downstate New York, will tell us, "You're not from New York, you're from Canada." It happens all the time. Like, that's some kind of insult. Like, call us Canadian, we don't care. Like, who wouldn't want to be from this magical land of super nice people, funny ass comedians, poutine, free healthcare, and barely any gun violence? Our stupid ass political leaders can try to divide us all they want with their stupid ass tariff war and threats against our neighbors to the north, but nothing will ever break the bond between Buffalo and Canada. That's why we sing their anthem. And it hit a beautiful fever pitch Tuesday night when the microphone went out on singer Cammy Clune at the start of the Canadian national anthem. So what does Buffalo do?
Gloria.
I definitely did not cry. I cried. Because ultimately, it's about love and respect and recognizing that we're all the same here, no matter what side of the border we live on.
That is Kevin Polloway, a comedian from Buffalo who reminds us that they like us. They really, really like us, those Buffalonians. They like us here in Ontario and Canada, And that's your reminder that not everyone is a jackwagon. I had the privilege last night of spending some time with a Buffalonian. We ran into one another at Martini's in Kitchener because the Charcoal Group was doing a little bit of fundraising on behalf of our Farwell for Hire charity. So we stopped in to enjoy a drink and a bite to eat, and we ran into our friends from TLC Pet Food in New Hamburg, big supporters of our Farwell for Hire campaign. You'll be hearing lots more about them in the weeks ahead when we get our campaign underway in earnest. But TLC Pet Food has been a long-standing partner, and one of their employees, they have an office in Buffalo. They had some of those Buffalonians here. We got to chat last night, and she confirmed what Kevin Polloway just told us. They really like us, and we had a great conversation over drinks last night at Martini's. Not everyone is a jackwagon. If you know someone who's not and you want to share their story with me, shoot me an email anytime, mike@570news.com. This is the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Well, with everything else going on these days, you might not be thinking yet about this coming Sunday. This coming Sunday is going to mark Mother's Day, Sunday, May the 10th, and not long after, about a month, in fact, we will mark Father's Day. And while these are often causes for celebration, they can also be times of some difficulty. They can be heavy times for some because they may not have their parents with them anymore, or their spouses, in the case of the next conversation we are about to have. Marnie Williams-Bolotis joins the show. Marnie is the executive director at the Hummingbird Center for Hope. Good morning, Marnie.
Good morning, Mike. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm enjoying a little bit of sunshine that's showing through the clouds right now, so I'll take it.
I noticed it too. Listen, Marty, can we just take a second? Like, what in HE double hockey sticks is it spring? Is it fall? Is it ever going to be warm? I have no idea.
I believe it's going to be at some point. Just don't know when.
Okay. I like your optimism. I'm getting more and more pessimistic by the day over here.
I agree. Yeah.
You are, as I mentioned, the executive director of the Hummingbird Center for Hope, but not just that, the co-founder as well. What is the Hummingbird Center for Hope?
We are an agency located in the region that specifically supports widowed parents who have kids living at home. It's a passion project, and it was created based off of my own story. My husband died, it'll be almost 24 years ago, and I had 2 little kids at the time, and Hummingbird is everything that I wanted back then, what was missing for me when I was looking for support.
So what do those supports look like?
We offer, so we're peer-based, so all of our facilitators and that are all widowed parents themselves. We offer virtual supports. We also have an in-person support to help our parents understand grief, understand how kids' grief can look and how to support them, but also build community around themselves. And we're an amazing group of people that cheer each other on in our wins and stand beside each other in the struggles. And, with no judgment, it's a beautiful thing. We also have a group that's dedicated just to dads, because dads grieve differently than moms do. It's the great statement of the day. Men and women are different, but I think it's important to have a group just for dads as well.
So are these groups support groups where we would get together with others who find themselves in a similar position, have conversations? They are, I would suppose, led by a counselor of some sort?
So again, it's all peer-based. Okay, so our facilitators are widowed parents. So there's a topic for each session that gets us going on conversation, and we provide, some education around that. And then it's the conversation and the discussion and the questions and the venting that's the magic that happens in group, that parents that are farther along in their grief can offer different words of wisdoms to our newer parents, and then just leaning on each other for the support. So it is peer-based. We're not a counseling, it's a support group.
Right. How did you navigate this absent these supports more than 2 decades ago?
Oh gosh, yeah, good question. I did find one group. It was only 6 weeks, and that was it. It was called the Under 40 Widowed Support Group, which is a very romantic name that everybody should sign up for. It was just horrible. The title was horrible. The group was good, but it wasn't even specific to having kids or not. It was just that age range. And so, again, that was only 6 weeks. I connected with a few people afterwards, but it wasn't enough. I felt very alone and very isolated, and really struggled to find people that, again, were like me. And it was hard. Internet and social media wasn't what it was back then, right? It was harder to find things.
Not only that, but you are dealing with emotions that perhaps you can't even identify in the moment while you're trying to continue being that mother to young children. I mean, that's an awful lot on somebody's life plate, if you will.
Oh, absolutely. My youngest was 6 weeks old when my husband was diagnosed, and it was only a 6-week journey through his cancer. So she was 3 months old when he died. And I always joke that being hormonal with a new baby and the emotions and the mess up that grief causes is not a good mix. And some days I really wonder how we got through that first year. There's many blank spots in my memory where I'm like, I wonder, like, how did I do it? How did I keep all of us afloat? And I don't really have a really good answer for that some days. I did have help, like I had practical support. My parents came in and did stuff like that. But yeah, it's hard. And when your kids are crying and missing their dad, or, how dare they want their diaper changed, it was really, really hard. It's grief is overwhelming at the best of times. And then you add little people or whatever other, layers you might have in your grief. It just amplifies it.
Is the Hummingbird Center for Hope that you co-founded, Marnie, part of your grief and or healing journey?
For sure. I always knew that I wanted to give back in some way, shape, or form. I got this education that I did not want. I, learned so much, but it was through the hardest way of getting it, right? My husband had to die in order for me to learn all this stuff. And I wanted to be able to give back. I wanted to be able to support other people. So absolutely, Hummingbird is part of that. And again, it's just so wonderful to see these connections being made with other parents and the community that they're forming. And it helps me to answer the why in a way that, like, I'll never get a good enough answer for why, but this is a pretty good answer.
The support provided through the Hummingbird Center for Hope, notwithstanding, if we, Marnie, perhaps know somebody who is going through this grief journey right now, what kinds of ways can we maybe offer some of that support?
The best way to offer support is through practical. Cut the lawns, rake the leaves, shovel the snow, do grocery shopping. But even when I say do practical, like say, can I go grocery shopping for you? Can I leave it on your front doorstep? Can I come in and help out with the house? Can I take your kid to the hockey arena, to the gymnastics studio, to the wherever? Because all of those practical things are laying on the shoulders of the solo parent, and they work really hard to keep their kids' lives as normal and as routine as possible. But the struggle of getting kids, and it always happens that the kids need to be at opposite ends of the town at the same time on the day, and one person magically can't do that. So offer the carpooling, offer those things, but come in with some suggestions. Don't say, what can I do to help? Because our brains go empty and we're like, I don't know. But if you say, I'm going grocery shopping on Thursday, can I always pick you up the staples and leave it on your front door? Can I babysit for you one night a week so that you can get out of the house and do whatever you need to do, even if it's going and sitting in the car at the end of the street? Like, you just get time away from your kids and offer those practical things. Not everybody can sit in the emotions of grief, and that's okay. If you can, great, offer that. But practical is always an easier way to start.
How do you approach this time of the year? Mother's Day just around the corner, coming up this weekend, Father's Day another month or so away. How do you approach this time of year?
In the way of helping somebody, or in the way of a grieving parent?
I think I would go the latter, in the way of a grieving parent.
Okay. It's a day that's going to be filled with so much, because for Mother's Day, it was the day that you were supposed to be pampered, right? You get the breakfast in bed, and you get the cute cards that the kids make, or if your kids are older, maybe they take you out for lunch or whatever it is. It's a day where you're supposed to be pampered, but now it becomes a day where you're missing your husband, your kid's father, and you have to support your kids in supporting you, right? They want to do something for you, but now you have to help them make that happen, right? So it's, again, can you rally somebody to come in and say, take my kids out and take them shopping, and here's $50, or they pay for it, and let the kids find something simple that they can get to mom and honor them. Come in and make breakfast or teach something for them. It's a day that's a big combination of missing and honoring, and again, being the solo parent and having to wear both hats. And the kids want to honor you, and they want to celebrate you. And depending on their age is based on their capacity of what they can and can't do. I have a great story of my son. It was probably my third Mother's Day. So he would have been probably 6, and he wanted to buy something for me. So we went to the mall, and we went down, the kiosks that are in the middle of the mall. He wanted to buy me a little piece of jewelry. The lady there was brilliant. She figured out what was going on. I had to close my eyes. He had to pick it. I had to try it on without knowing what it was. I had to pay for it. She wrapped it. And then on Mother's Day, he gave it to me. And that sort of signifies what these Mother's Day and Father's Days can look like for the parent, for the family. You're running double duty, and it's tough.
Yeah, that's a lovely story, and good.
Isn't that cute?
It is, and good on that kiosk employee for getting it.
Brilliant. She was brilliant. She's like, "What's the budget?"
I love it.
I even had to say, "Can we get a bigger size?" What doesn't work? But trying to honor my son, and something that I could wear, like that fit properly. Like it was so beautiful and so sad and so sweet and so all the mixes of emotions, right? That's what these holidays are for our families. It's a bundle full of opposite emotions, like Dad should be here, but isn't it sweet that they're doing this? And I should have breakfast in bed and I shouldn't be making it. Like it's just this, you're at opposite ends of the spectrum, which makes it hard to navigate it all.
Sure.
Yeah.
How can folks, because we know, and I think it's easier said than really felt, but you're not in this alone. If you are grieving the loss of a spouse and trying to navigate that with children, young or old, you're absolutely not alone. So how can folks find out more about the Hummingbird Center for Hope and the programs you have available there?
Well, our website, which is hummingbirdscenterforhope.com. We're on social media. All of the information is listed there for the programs. My phone number is there. They can call me. We're a pretty simple intake. Did your partner die? Yes, come join us. And I say that with lots of love, right? We are specific to the kids living at home. That's our uniqueness. That's our magic. But kids can be getting ready to launch to university, or they can be in mom's belly when their partner dies. But yeah, through the website or on social media, you can find us and find out about our programs, or absolutely give me a call and I will talk to anybody. And if I can't help, I will find where you could go. I can be a point of contact for here's a better area of support for you.
Truly admire you turning your grief and that sense of hopelessness all those years ago into something that provides this hope for others. Mm-hmm. It's a great story and a testament to who you are. Marnie, thanks very much for joining the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, a real pleasure. I hope we can talk again.
I hope so too. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Marnie Williams-Bolotis is the executive director and co-founder of the Hummingbird Center for Hope. It's a local charity that supports widowed parents and their children as they navigate life after loss. Find them online, hummingbirdscenterforhope.com. This is the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Okay, the takeover is about to occur here in the studio because I have some very talented young performers across the desk from me. And I know every time I get talented people like this in the studio, my job is on its last legs. They're coming for me. Such talented individuals, members of the 20 Performing Arts Academy in Brantford and performing in an upcoming show inspired by Disney. We're going to get into all of it, but let's first welcome Noah Bien-Aimé. Good morning, Noah.
Good morning.
Did I get your last name right?
Yep.
Okay. You helped me out with that before. I appreciate you, young man. Thank you. We also have, now hang on, they brought twins in just to mess with me. Alexia Puglia. Good morning, Alexia.
I'm Alyssa.
Wait a minute. Oh, yeah. Alexia's over here on my right. Alyssa is right across from me. Good morning, Alyssa.
Good morning.
And Alexia Puglia, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Noah, let me start with you. How did you get involved with 20 Performing Arts Academy?
Well, I started in Ancaster at a theater called Theater Ancaster, and that's when I met Teresa, and I did 3 shows with her. And then I heard that she was doing her own shows, and she started her own theater company. And so I went and did Beetlejuice with them last year. And it was great. And so I came back this year. And yeah.
If I said Beetlejuice 3 times right now, would it freak you out? I still get freaked out. I don't know. Why the stage? What inspired you to get on stage?
Oh, well, I've been performing my whole life. I just love performing for people. It just brings me so much joy. Yeah.
I love it. See, they're coming for me. Okay. Hang on. Alexia.
Alyssa.
I said I was going to remember this. Honestly, Alyssa's wearing the glasses today. How did you get involved with 20 Performing Arts?
My friend Olivia did the summer camp, and she told us about Footloose, and so we just kind of joined from there.
So much fun. So much fun. Alexia?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. See, you'd think after 30 seconds I'd still be okay. Do you just do everything that your twin sister does?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about Descendants. This is a Disney show, and you're wearing the T-shirt that shows us about the show, but tell me more about the production.
So it's from, like, the people, like, the villains. They're like the descendants. So they had children, and the children are on the Isle. And then there's a land called Oradon, where there's, like, all the fairy tale people and the good people, and, like, Snow White and Cinderella and Fairy Godmother. And they get sent to Oradon to go to school. And they just, like, the people hate them there, but then they learn a lot of stuff.
So do you get to be a bad person in this show?
No, I'm a part of Oradon.
You're part of Oradon?
Yes.
Okay, and that's the good thing?
Yeah.
Okay, Alyssa. All right, see, I'm looking straight across at Alyssa. How's it going learning all of your parts?
Pretty well.
Yeah.
Not too difficult. I mean, I'm not in a lot of scenes. There's like 4 or 5 that I'm in, maybe. Got quite a few lines, but pretty easy to remember after you read the script a couple times.
And Alexia, how much work goes into rehearsing and getting ready for the show?
Well, it's a lot. There's like, we do it on Saturdays for 3 hours, and then it moved up to Saturday and Sunday for 4 hours for quite a long period of time.
Noah, what are you doing? What part are you going to play in Descendants?
I'm playing Ben. He's the son of Belle and Beast. And I'm the one that brought the Descendants back from the Isle to Oradon. Yeah.
So are you more Belle or Beast?
Well, a lot of the show, I'm Beast.
Okay. Isn't that kind of fun, though?
Yeah.
Yeah, to be a little bit like that. So what's it been like for you preparing for this show?
Well, I have so much singing. I didn't think that I would be able to memorize all my lines in time, but I did. And like today is our day that we have to be fully off book and we can't call line anymore. So I'm a little nervous for that. But
when does the show start?
This Friday.
This Friday. Okay. And where is it going to be?
At Brantford Collegiate Institute in Brantford.
BCI in Brantford. This Friday, Descendants starts. Okay. Alyssa, I'm looking straight at her again. I got this figured out now. When it's a Disney production, I don't know, like, were you a fan of Disney before you started this?
I started watching Disney when I was like 3 or 4.
Me too.
So I've always loved Disney. And being able to perform in a Disney show is great. I'm fulfilling my childhood dreams.
I love it. Wait a minute. Okay, you're fulfilling my childhood dreams. When I was a kid, there used to be the Wide World of Disney the Wonderful World of Disney on Sunday nights. We would watch it at my grandparents' place after we had dinner there. Alexia, what about you? Is it intimidating to do a Disney show?
I think it's fun because you're like experiencing like your childhood, because I've always grown up watching Disney and like Mickey Mouse and all that stuff and the fairy tale characters. So it's like really fun to do one. So
you are all so young and so talented. Noah, what's next? Do you want to keep doing stage?
Oh, yes, definitely.
Really?
100%.
You like it that much? Yep. Alyssa, what about you?
Of course.
Of course. Look at that. No hesitation. Alexia?
Yeah.
Okay. I love this. Friday, Brantford Collegiate Institute, Descendants, the musical. You're all going to be singing, dancing, and you'll have all your lines memorized, right?
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
You're going to be great. You're in very good hands with the 20 Performing Arts Academy. Thank you all for joining me on the show. And are we still allowed to say break a leg? That's what we used to say in the theater.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Noah Biename, Alyssa Puglia, and Alexia Puglia, thank you for being here this morning.
Thank you.
This is the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
his kids had won it, Bobby Thompson had done it, and Yogi read the comics all the while. Rock and roll was being born, marijuana we would scorn. So down on the corner, the national pastime went on trial. We're talking baseball, Klazuski, Campanella, talking baseball. The man and Bobby Fella, the Scooter, the Barber, and the Nuke. They knew them all from Boston to Dubuque, especially Willie, Mickey, and the Duke.
It is that time of the week here on the program. Wednesday morning, just after the 11 a.m. news, we are joined by the one and only Blue Jay Hunter. Ian Hunter walks around these halls every day, and on Wednesday mornings, we drag him here into the studio and say, come on, Blue Jay Hunter, tell us what's what with the Blue Jays. And finally, Ian, I mean, we're in the same place. I think the last 2 or 3 weeks I've been somewhere else and you've been in the studio.
It's been a minute. I've been keeping your chair warm the last couple of weeks. So nice to finally get back in the same room for once.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Could you warm up the Blue Jays or no? How about this? Like, can we just stop playing at Tropicana Field? How about that?
Yeah, it's like normally I know sports people always talk about like curses and traditions and things like that, but just I don't think there's has anything good ever happened at Tropicana Field for the Blue Jays. Like the one I can think of was that one game, I believe in 2015, Marco Estrada was on his way to pitching a no-hitter. That was the game, the one where Josh Donaldson dove into the seats to catch the ball. And I thought, oh man, we've got a no-hitter here. And no, it's just been nothing but horror stories for this Blue Jays team. I think by far they have their worst record of any AL East opponent on the road in Tampa Bay. So whether it was their was it Steinbrenner Field they played at last year, the Yankees minor league park, or Tropicana, it's just I think every time the Jays get in there, it's like, how fast can we leave and get on the plane and move on to the next city?
I should have reminded you, I'm sorry that I didn't, when Ian is here talking Blue Jays baseball. We, of course, welcome your participation. 519-570-2545, star 570, and 1-800-570-5715. I was at an event last night, Ian, so when I got back into the car, it was the 8th inning. We were up 3-2. Mm-hmm. I thought, okay. I mean, listen, I get a little nervous with our bullpen, but I thought, okay, we're up 3-2. We'll see how the bullpen does. And then the bullpen did what the bullpen, at least I feel, seems to have been doing more than it should. You change some of those outcomes. And anyway, is that the Achilles heel is what I'm getting at? Is our bullpen, despite the fact we have the reliever of the month in Louis Varland, is the bullpen the Achilles heel right now?
I mean, all anyone could talk about last night was that 8th inning. That was kind of the crux of the game there. But I still think overall this Blue Jays bullpen is still having a decent season. Like up until last night, Tyler Rogers, I think his ERA was .52. He had given up one earned run the entire season. And even with a couple on his box score last night, it's still 1.52. So to me, the odd choice was should that 8th inning maybe have belonged to Louis Varland, because you're facing the meat of the Rays order. They're 2, 3, 4 hitters. Tyler Rogers has had a phenomenal season for the Jays so far, but he pitches to contact. Like, he's going to give up a lot of ground balls. And as we saw, the Rays didn't really square anything up. Like, it was a lot of just weird, fluky singles, hits up the middle, a weird double down the left field line. When you're striking guys out, you don't have to worry about that. And Louis Varland's been probably the best strikeout pitcher in the Blue Jays bullpen. So, yeah, to me, it was odd why John Schneider didn't go to Varland in that case, because they said they didn't really anoint Varland as the closer. They said closer by committee, quote unquote. But it has been, the 9th inning has been Varland's. So to me, that's a situation where, maybe if you put Varland in there with his strikeout capability and the fact that a lot of balls don't get put in play, I think he might have been the better option. But yeah, up until last night, Tyler Rogers has been money, right? It's just kind of unfortunate. A lot of seeing eye singles, and that's the way it went. To me, I think, again, another opportunity where the Blue Jays needed to get more offense across the board. Like 3 runs is not going to cut it, right? If they score 5-6, we don't have this discussion at all.
You described that 8th inning very well, as did, I think it was it Eric Smith on the call last night on the radio? Yeah, that's what I thought. And I could tell it's these little doinks here and little hits there that get through. Clement had one, I guess he got a hand on or was able, as he dove across, et cetera, et cetera. But the number of runs not scored. Sportsnet had a headline just the other day about the number of base runners the Blue Jays are leaving stranded. We're just not hitting with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, it's the same problem. We've talked about this multiple times. The Jays get guys on base. They have a ton of guys who will draw walks. I mean, Vlad has a .430 on base percentage, something like that. A ton of singles, but they're just not delivering when the game matters. And I think ultimately at the end of the season, it's going to even out. The runners in scoring position numbers don't look great right now, but it's the same thing I've been saying all season. Like, they just don't have a ton of extra base power. It really seems like Kazuma Okamoto is kind of carrying this offense on his back right now. You have Vlad, the $500 million man. He is getting his hits, but there's really not a ton of slug in his bat right now. And George Springer is still not quite 100%. So they really need guys like Vlad to step up, and it hasn't happened. Like, again, it would be one thing if they were striking out all over the place and not getting on base, but the problem is they are getting on base and just not being able to cash those guys in. I think that's why you're seeing, cases like Brandon Valenzuela bunting early in the game just to generate runs. Like, they're doing anything they possibly can. But I think making hard contact, hitting homers, that always plays, and they just haven't had that in spades this season.
Yeah, it's the power that's really missing, right? Because you mentioned the on-base percentage is there, so we're taking good approaches, right? We're walking, but it's the power that I think you would expect, and it certainly was there last year, that's not there right now.
Yeah, and I think you're missing a little bit of personnel from last year that did lend itself to more power, like a Bo Bichette and Addison Barger, who's on the IL right now, but he should be coming back on Friday. And as mentioned, you don't have a George Springer who's 100%, and Alejandro Kirk's on the IL, so that the same cast of characters is not there, but the potential is. Like, I mean, the frustrating part is you saw what Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is capable of in the postseason, right? But I just looked at his numbers. I think, so this year through 36 games, he has 2 homers. Last year, through his first 36 games, he had 4 homers. So this is kind of the player that he is. I feel like at this point, he does tend to get to a really slow start when it comes to power. At the very least, he is still getting on base, right? He is now becoming a table setter for somebody like an Okamoto who has seemed to unlock a lot of power in the bat. But he kind of seems like he's on an island right now. So it just feels like they still need another maybe 1 to 2 power hitters to really get this thing going.
I guess the challenge becomes we're not paying Guerrero $500 million for a 400 on base percentage or above. We're paying him to hit at least 400 home runs over those 14 years, aren't we? That'd be 30-ish a year. That's what we want from the guy.
Yeah, you would think. And the more, I don't mean this as a slight to Vladimir Guerrero Jr., but I think the guy that we saw in 2021, the one who hit 48 home runs, I don't know if we're going to get those power numbers again. And I think if you ask most fans, so long as he's still contributing offensively, they'd be happy. But when you are tagged basically as the franchise player, you've been signed to a $500 million contract, I think expectations are higher. And when the team struggles, he is going to be the lightning rod that most people are going to be talking about. So I think as the Blue Jays continue to struggle, these discussions will continue to be had until he kind of performs up to the level that everyone is expecting him to. Because, yeah, as we said, he has performed at an elite level in the past. He's done it as recently as last postseason. And he had some momentum in the World Baseball Classic as well, really strong numbers in the spring. So it's really frustrating to see why is that guy not there this early in the season. I don't know if he just needs a little bit of extra time to get his timing down, but it's frustrating as a fan to watch. It's when you're celebrating a single as though it's a home run, that can rub some people the wrong way. But yeah, like I said, he's getting on base, so at least he's contributing that way.
There is a guy whose name you've mentioned a couple of times that we should probably isolate here. At least I think so, and that would be Kaz Okamoto. I mean, all the noise around Santander last year, and we know that's never happened. And then the lineup, the way it worked last year, Springer, Bichette was here, Varsho hit so well, Kirk, etc. But Okamoto has come in and just really delivered and maybe an underappreciated signing by the Jays. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he had a really strong opening series against the Athletics, but then his bat really cooled off. And I think there was a lot of questions about, is this the adjustment period? Because he's coming over and seeing major league pitching for the first time, although he's had a ton of success in Japan. It always comes with that asterisk because you don't quite know whether that's going to translate. And I know it's still early, but the signs the last couple of weeks have been really promising. Like 5 homers in the last 5 games for him. He has 10 homers on the season. That leads the Jays. It's almost as if the slugging that we'd expect from Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is in Kaz Okamoto's bat right now, which is, I think that's a strong sign. Like he's putting up competitive at-bats. I would say for a few weeks he looked really tentative, like he was taking a lot of pitches, a lot of borderline pitches. But in the last few weeks, it seems like his approach has become a lot more aggressive and he's swinging earlier in the counts. And it's just he's been hitting like towering home runs. Like we're not talking wall scrapers here, Mike. Like these things are going 400 plus feet. And he hit another one last night. So he's just been a treat to watch, and he's not a liability defensively. He's making really good plays at third base too. So just an all around really great. It's been a really good, I know we're in year 1 of 4 of this signing, but the returns so far have been excellent for the Blue Jays. Ian Hunter is the Blue Jay Hunter. He joins us Wednesday mornings just after the 11 a.m. news here on the show to talk, what else? Blue Jays baseball. And you're invited to the conversation on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. It is a Wednesday morning, and every Wednesday we set aside some time to talk about Canada's baseball team, the Toronto Blue Jays, because we have access to the one and only Blue Jay Hunter, who joins us Wednesdays at 11 here on the show. You can join the conversation at 519-570-2545, star 570, and 1-800-570-5715. You alluded to it earlier, Ian. Addison Barger, we're expecting to see maybe this weekend, yes? I think potentially he's on track to potentially be activated on Friday when the Blue Jays return home. So it's looking like there may be a bit of a roster crunch. There's been some discussion as to who would be sent down in his place, because there's a lot of guys right now who are kind of performing really well, but others who are scuffling. So you have the guys who are on the bubble probably are Davis Schneider, Lenyn Sosa, and Yohendrick Pinago. Those are the 3 names. It's looking more and more like Davis Schneider, which is funny because a few weeks ago I wrote about how Davis Schneider needs to be in the Blue Jays lineup every single day, and he's only started 1 game out of the last 7 for the Blue Jays. So it just goes to show you how quickly things can change in Major League Baseball. Is it because Schneider's production has just fallen off? Yeah, I would say so. Like Lenyn Sosa is kind of been an unheralded pickup for the Jays. Again, he doesn't hit for a ton of power, but he is getting on base, and Pinago, he's hitting 455 right now. Like, he's been a really pleasant surprise. I don't think he was on anybody's depth chart to start the season. So I don't see how you could send him down just because his bat has been so hot, and he's playing regularly. Like he's even been batting leadoff. So I think the Blue Jays are just kind of trying everything. And although Schneider has an impressive resume, he hit a homer in the World Series last year,
I think right now you kind of have to go with the hot hand. And, Schneider's not it right now. So this is a team trying to generate as much offense as possible. And I think you just have to go with the guys who are giving you hits night in and night out.
So Springer back in the lineup, but maybe not 100% yet. Barger being activated perhaps as early as this weekend. You mentioned Kirk remains on the IL. I mean, how's the health of this lineup overall, which has absolutely been an Achilles heel?
Yeah, they're kind of they're a little bit held together by popsicle sticks and duct tape. I think they dodged a bullet over the weekend when that the ball came and hit Springer on the same foot of his fractured toe, which was just, I think, had a lot of fans perplexed. Like, what kind of bad luck has this team had this year? So I think it has been tough, especially in the starting rotation too. Like we heard Jose Barrios yesterday kind of had a bit of a setback. So I think Eric Lauer's spot in the starting rotation is fine for now. That's the thing. Like, there's not, once Barger comes back and you really have Kirk maybe joining the Jays at the All-Star break or slightly before, there's not really many more reinforcements kind of banging down the door in AAA. So these are the horses you have, unless the Blue Jays decide to pull off another trade, which, typically we don't see a ton of trades in the month of May. I think these are the guys that they're going to have to roll with, and they're going to be expecting their franchise guys like Vlad, like Springer to push the bus across the finish line here.
What have you thought of Trey Yesavage's starts so far?
I mean, he's been a shot of adrenaline to the starting rotation. Not exactly, hasn't been his sharpest, but I think with starting pitchers, you give them a little bit of grace to kind of get in the groove. But I would say his first two starts have been okay, not his greatest work, but I think you would take a Trey Savage at 70% than probably any other starting pitcher aside from Dylan Cease or Kevin Gausman in the starting rotation right now. So again, I think what we need to see from these Blue Jays starters is pitching deeper into games. Like, for example, Kevin Gausman last night didn't have his best stuff, still managed a quality start. We're still not seeing that from Dylan Cease. His pitch counts are getting up there, but he's not pitching deep into games. His last start, he was into his seventh, I believe. So that's a good start. But to get back to Trey Savage, I think it's really promising. You want to be careful with this guy because this is supposed to be your future ace of this club, right? And I can't remember how many times we've talked about, whether it's Nate Pearson, Alek Manoah, Aaron Sanchez. You want to be extremely careful with these starting pitchers and not give them too much or too soon because you risk injuries and things like that. So I think that's why the Blue Jays are still kind of babying Savage in here. But I think within a few months, he should be kind of ramping up to what his potential should be.
You mentioned the month of May a moment ago, so I will mention it again as a way of prefacing. I know it's early, right? We're like a quarter of the way. But I confess, Ian, I had not looked at the standings recently. And when I just did, as you sat here in studio with me, I remember early on, the Yankees came out of the gates like they were shot out of a cannon, got a nice lead in the division, and then kind of fell back. Well, that's changed. How are the Blue Jays 9 games back already?
Yeah,
9 games.
And it's wild. It's the Blue Jays keep doing this dance with 500 where they keep, it's one step forward, 2 steps back. They took 2 of 4 in Minnesota where they had a chance to take 3 out of 4, which would have pushed them, I believe, close to 500. And it's, again, you're not going to lose the division this early in the season, but that is a lot of ground to make up. And it's not going to be long here before we're into June. And the potential for the Yankees to have like a 6, 7, 8 run cushion in the division. Last year, the Blue Jays did make up the ground and they did catch the Yankees by about early July. But I think they face a much tougher uphill battle this year, especially as they battle these injuries. So the Jays are only a game, I think, out of a playoff spot currently. Just even hanging around the 500 mark is going to help. But you would much rather have that division crown because, as we saw, you avoid that wild card series. And anytime you can play 2 to 3 fewer games, it just puts your team in a much better position.
It's always interesting what's going on with this team, and it's been like no shortage of storylines already this season. We'll look forward to catching up again in 1 week's time. Thanks for being here. Ian Hunter is the Blue Jay Hunter, joins us Wednesday mornings, 11 o'clock, here on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. A production of Into the Woods is returning to the stage in New Hamburg, brought to us by the community players. And returning, I think, is the operative word here as we welcome Aaron Balzer to the show. Aaron is the director of Into the Woods with the community players of New Hamburg. Aaron, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How about you?
I'm great. I'm excited. We open tomorrow night, so yeah, it's very, very exciting.
I can understand the excitement because more than 30 years after it was originally staged back in 1993, as I said at the outset, this is a return. And I guess more than just that, not just a return of the production, but even a member of the original cast.
Yeah, that's right. Wendy Wagler, who is a longtime member of the community players of New Hamburg, she was in that original production as Rapunzel, and now she's back as Cinderella's wicked stepmother. So it's a very different role, but we're having a lot of fun, and she's just one of the many fantastic cast members we have in this show.
There was tremendous interest in the auditions, Aaron. How did you go through about 100 performers to settle on the ultimate cast here?
Yeah, it was challenging because it's a good problem to have when you have so many great options. But ultimately, you know, the audition team, you know, our choreographer and our music director and assistant director, we all kind of sat down and went through our options and chose who we thought, you know, would fit the best in this production. And any audition process, you know, there's often many ways you could go, and you just kind of have to choose what makes the most sense right now for this production. And we're very happy. Our cast is incredible, absolutely incredible.
How did you entice Wendy back to the stage after several years away?
We didn't. Wendy's been doing shows with TCP for over 30 years now. I don't know if she's missed a year. She's a stalwart member of our group, and I think at this point our longest standing member, which is really cool to have her and her knowledge and her history with the company. You know, as a part of the cast with the mix of new and returning people.
You transformed the New Hamburg Community Center arena into your theater space here. What's involved in that, Aaron?
Yeah, so we have a production company called Straight Street that comes in first, and they hang trusses and all the lights and rigging goes onto that. Then we build a stage, so we have a stage made up of 4x4 panels on legs. That gets built next. Then the set gets moved from upstairs in the community center down to the stage. Then we set up chairs. We build audience risers. We have about 600 seats in our theater. So it's a week-long process that everyone's involved in. Everyone in the cast also volunteers hours. People who aren't in the cast, people who have been in shows in the past, family members, all come to make that transformation happen. So it all goes up in a week, and then on Sunday when the show's done, it all comes down in one night.
That is incredible. I mean, the effort that goes into just the transformation of that arena into a suitable theater space. And I think we can kind of wrap our heads around that the way you've described it, Aaron. But what about the preparation itself for this show? You said the curtain rises tomorrow night, but we know the work began a long time ago. Can you walk us through what got us to this point?
Yeah, I mean, we chose the show a little over a year ago. We have a team that chooses plays and musicals, you know, reads plays and listens to musicals and decides what makes sense for our season. Then the call went out for creative team members, so that's where I was able to step in to direct. And then we were looking for also people, again, like the choreographer, the music director, the head of costumes, head of props creation. And then sort of vision meetings and planning, what's the show going to look like? What versions of the songs are we going to do? What's the feel? What's the sense of the show? Are we setting it in a specific era or not? And then in January we had auditions, and then we had callback auditions, and then we started rehearsing at the beginning of February. So it is a year-long process to kind of get a show up and running. But there's also a year-round process of our leadership team at the Community Players who work to make sure to govern the organization, to make sure we're doing things right, to make sure we're covered legally and financially and all those things. So it really, truly takes a village.
Community theater, too, is exactly as it sounds, right? Community. And these are folks that have jobs and other pursuits that they're working around, their rehearsals, their line memorization, et cetera, right? There's a lot that goes into that.
It's really a beautiful example of people coming together from all different walks of life. I often will say that, you're dancing on stage next to a full-time dentist and a construction worker and a retired teacher and an elementary school kid. And you're all there because you love what you do. You have other things in life that take up most of your time, but it's something that you enjoy. Some people maybe have worked professionally in the past. Some people maybe were never able to or never wanted to work professionally in the theater, but they love singing and dancing and acting, and so we come together to make that happen, and it's a pretty beautiful and magical thing.
Why Into the Woods? Why return to this production that you staged all those years ago?
Yeah, Into the Woods is a really beautiful show, written by Stephen Sondheim and James Lapine, and I think the story is timeless. It takes these fairy tales that we know really well, Rapunzel, Cinderella, Jack and the Beanstalk, Little Red Riding Hood, and it tells those stories. And fairy tales, I think, have lessons to teach us. They were written to teach lessons, and I think they still have lessons to teach us. And they've been taken and mashed up in this really interesting way, with this original story about a baker and his wife who have had a curse put on them by a witch, and they want to have a child, and they need to go into the woods to get these items, like the cape is red as blood, and the hair is yellow as corn, the cow is white as milk, all these items that the other characters have, and everyone goes into the woods to get what they wish. And then they kind of do whatever they can to get what they wish, and then they get to happily ever after. And Act 1 ends, the curtain drops, and then Act 2 comes, and we kind of go, what happens after Happily Ever After? What happens after you've done anything you can to get what you want? What are the consequences of that? And it's a really interesting exploration that I think we don't often get in, the Disney versions of the fairy tales, let's say.
Be careful what you wish for comes to mind, right?
Absolutely, exactly.
What can folks expect when they arrive at your arena/theater for the premiere tomorrow night?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to walk in and I think just be blown away by the beautiful set and the lighting. It just looks fantastic. They can expect some amazing singing. We have such incredible talent in this cast. They can expect a really engaging story that is, at times very touching, very moving, at other times really, really funny. And they can expect to be going home humming the music that they've heard.
Where can we get tickets, Aaron?
Yeah, you can visit our website. It's at thecommunityplayers.com, and there are tickets left, I believe, for all of our performances. So we have shows on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, evening shows on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then afternoon matinees on Saturday and Sunday as well. Great Mother's Day gift, great time to bring your mom. Moms, bring your kids. Moms, bring your moms.
Thecommunityplayers.com. I'm just thinking of, again, going back to the original Into the Woods being staged by the Community Players of New Hamburg more than 30 years ago. That speaks to the staying power of community theater, and specifically this community theater in New Hamburg. What would you say is behind that?
I think what you said earlier about community, it really feels like family. I've worked with lots of amazing theater groups in our region and had really great experiences. But for me personally, I think TCP feels like home. it's I always just find myself making my way back. I have friends that I've made over the years. I have family members. My niece is in this show, and so it's been a real privilege to see her over the last couple of years start getting into theater, and it's something that families can do together, both being involved and coming to see shows. And I think just the arts are so important. We see that the arts are so essential to existence. It's hard right now. Things are expensive. Life is expensive. And things like arts might seem like they're not a priority, but I think things like art help make life worth living. And so it's a privilege to be able to help present that. And so lucky to live in a region that has so much art.
Yeah, it's really well said. I'm a huge fan of what the arts bring to a community, and the Community Players of New Hamburg is no exception to that fabric that is part of our everyday lives. Kudos to you and the team, Aaron. Best of luck with the show, and thanks for joining our show this morning.
Thanks so much for having us.
Enjoy the day. Yeah. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
Aaron Balzer is going to direct Into the Woods with the Community Players of New Hamburg. The curtain rises tomorrow night. Shows running through Sunday at the New Hamburg Community Center Arena, which is being transformed into that 600-seat theater for this production. You can learn more and get your tickets at thecommunityplayers.com. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, if you are of a vintage anywhere near mine, I think you might have experienced, and students continue to experience these retreats today, to Mount Mary through our Waterloo Catholic District School Board. They are Mount Mary and our WCDSB approaching a milestone anniversary event. We'll talk about it next on the Mike Farwell Show. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. It is a milestone anniversary between our Waterloo Catholic District School Board and Mount Mary, which is a retreat center that many of us who came through our local Catholic school system have had the opportunity to participate in. It's coming up on 50 years, and that milestone anniversary will be celebrated later this month, in fact, on May the 31st. Here to talk more about it, Jamie Noonan and Sina MacArthur, who are with our Waterloo Catholic District School Board. Jamie, Sina, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Doing very well, thank you. How are you?
Good.
Doing great, thank you.
Good, glad to hear it. Sina, let me start with you. And now 50 years, before we talk about the anniversary coming up, can you share with us this relationship, this long-standing relationship between the Mount Mary Retreat Center and our Waterloo Catholic District School Board?
Well, this program actually stems all the way back to about 1976 until about the year 2020. And this is when the Sister Servants of Mary Immaculate had this beautiful property and invited us to share the property with the program that we had in place. In 2020, until present day, the Hamilton Diocese now owns and operates the Mount Mary Retreat facility. But the partnership that we've created is incredible. And the program actually was born from an idea that grade 8 students should have an opportunity to reflect on themselves, their relationships with their peers and their families, and where does God kind of fit in this in their life plan prior to going to high school. This program initially was built on faith and love. And for 50 years, we've had dedicated staff and teachers and administrators that have put their heart and soul into this project to support the kids. Now, the kids in the early 80s and 90s are definitely different than the kids we have today. And our program works really, really hard to be able to support them. The impact that this program has is unmeasurable, and it was often considered a cornerstone or an untouchable with our school board. lots of times I know that, money talks, as they say, but our school board planned way back when that it would be an untouchable and a cornerstone for our school board. And it's been dearly loved now for over 3 generations of students have gone through this program. So I was just on retreat on Monday, and it was exciting to hear a student. She came running to me and said, "My dad came here, and my aunt came here, and now I get to experience this program." So it's incredible the value that it has. And when you talk to students about Mount Mary, the first thing that happens is they just smile. They can't help themselves. They look forward to, and they quickly start to reminisce about their experiences, and they recall lots of their favorite activities or the people that helped them through those times. And most importantly, though, that this program it alters the path of the lives of these kids. I was out walking the dog the other day, and I ran into 2 former students, and they're in their 40s, mid-40s now. And they asked if I was still involved with the program, and I said absolutely. And the first thing that came out of his mouth was, "That program changed my life and altered my friend's life." And we continued to chat about everything that he remembered and smiled. And I looked at him, and his wife looked at him, and he had tears in his eyes because even after all of these years, he was impacted. We getting ready for the celebration. I was having wine made, and one of the workers at the facility at the Oak Barrel, he came to me and he says, "I remember my experience, and I was really afraid because I didn't think I was going to be able to go because my family didn't have enough money." And at that point in time, he said, "My school paid for me to go, and it's one thing that I remember." And this gentleman now was, again in his late 40s. So the impact of the program is incredible over the period of time.
Jamie, how do we mark the 50th anniversary on May the 31st?
Well, we're gathering together at the Mount Mary site, and there's a wonderful celebration that's being planned. There'll be a mass that's celebrated, which will set the tone for the day, and then there's going to be some time for fellowship. And I think what Sina was just sharing now is going to be a big part of what that day looks like. It's going to be people coming together, people from the school board and mums and dads, and now their kids who have had the opportunity to attend, and sharing stories about the experience. I think we would be remiss in talking about Mount Mary if we didn't mention Rex. Rex was a gentleman who spent a lot of time up at Mount Mary volunteering, and he was a real character, but he had a huge influence on so many students over the years. When we as schools have our parent night meeting to help mums and dads learn about Mount Mary, since their kids are going to be away for so many days, and I always sort of ask the crowd, who attended Mount Mary themselves, and it's always half the hands in the rooms that goes up. And they always say, "We remember Rex. We remember the impact that Rex," I think his last name was Barger?
Yes.
Rex Barger had on us in the program back in the day. And, it's going to be a wonderful day at the end of the month.
How can folks get involved?
Actually, anybody and everybody is welcome to attend if they've been connected with Mount Mary at all. There's an invitation that's on our Facebook page. It's got a QR code, and all you need to do is register to let us know that you're coming. Lots of we're doing a lot of connecting through Facebook. I believe possibly Instagram as well. And people are just forwarding the invitation to one another. We're meeting people in the streets, and we're sharing that information. Anybody that we can think about, former staff, is welcome to join us. Former facilitators, former people from our school board. So it's open to everybody.
It's a lovely program and a milestone anniversary being marked, 50 years of this relationship. Sina, Jamie, thank you both very much for joining our show today.
Thank you so much.
Our pleasure. Have a great day.
You too. Bye now.
Take care.
Jamie Noonan and Sina MacArthur with the Waterloo Catholic District School Board. Anybody of a certain vintage would remember those Mount Mary retreats. Fun fact, for some reason, and I could not tell you to this day the reason, it skipped my class. I never got to go, but I heard the stories very similar to what Sina and Jamie were sharing about how transformational this Mount Mary retreat was. You can find the Waterloo Catholic District School Board on Facebook by that name, Waterloo Catholic District School Board. You'll see the invitation, you scan the QR code, and you can join that 50th anniversary celebration on Sunday, May the 31st. This is the Mike Farwell Show on 570 News Radio and Rogers TV.
Take out the papers and the trash, or you don't get no spending cash. If you don't scrub that kitchen floor, you ain't gonna rock and roll no more. Yakety yak.
Don't talk back.
Just finish cleaning up your room. Let's see that dust fly with that broom. Get all that garbage out of sight, or you don't go out Friday night. Yakety yak.
Don't talk back.
It is your daily Talkback Hour, your opportunity to talk back to us, at us. You know how it works. Our phone lines are open, providing you the opportunity to reflect on the issues of the day or bring forward to us the thing that you would like to be the issue of the day. It's that simple. There really are no rules. Isn't that the most fun game to play? You make the rules up as you go along. 519-570-2545, star 570, and 1-800-570-5715. We're going to get right to the phones because I think we have ourselves a story to share as we start off Talkback today. Jeff, good afternoon. You're on Talkback.
Hey, little buddy. How are you?
Oh, I was hoping it was you. I don't think I'm as good as you, my friend.
You know what, little buddy? It's been quite the gig that I've gone through, and without taking up a lot of the time, I would love to talk to you more. But before I even forget, Channel 518 is the game of the Barrie and Kitchener game will be on. For the people that can't make it to the game, it will be on there. You can watch it on TV, mute it, and then listen to you on the 570 network. But I'll tell you what, bro, it's unbelievable. I've been blessed with great people taking care of me, and I don't say a lot of things as far as telling. Like I've had so many phone calls this morning. Why didn't you tell me? But you know, Mike, I keep it to myself. I take care of things on my own, and just been blessed with what I started off with way back when Linda was alive, and the day that my prostate got taken out. She was with me. I'm alone now, but I'm not. I mean, I got my kids and grandchildren, Mike. But, you know, the hospitals here, Kitchener, right from the people that when you walk in, how pleasant they are, how happy-go-lucky. It just I got goosebumps, you know, right now. It's hard for me to say things right now, Mike. You know how this old truck driver is sometimes, but the doctors, the radiologists, ladies, everybody. At my last day, everybody that I've had in the hospital, they all made sure in the waiting room they came up, they gave me a hug and wished me all the best. And you know what, Mike? What a situation. And then going into the room was full of people, and I almost backed out until a young lady there, and I'm sorry, I forget her name, said, "Did you want to use this? We just got it back." And I said, "Oh my Lord, look at this! What a day, Mike! I mean, yeah."
So Jeff,
unbelievable.
You called us earlier this week on Monday because we were talking about that gong being stolen, and you said that you were looking forward to ringing that gong when you finished your treatment, and it was returned just in time. You were the first guy who got to ring it. How did that feel?
unbelievable, Mike. Honest to God, it was. Yeah. You and I talked about it. I thought it was like, why would somebody take that, Mike? And just for me to come in, I got goosebumps right now, and I'm holding back a bit of emotions right now, bro. And I mean that very sincerely. What a feeling to come in there, and I made a big yell, banged it once, and I said, "Can I do it again?" And the young lady smiled at me and go for it. So I did it again, and all the police officers that were there, the ones that found this, unbelievable, Mike. Like what an ordeal. To first go through the treatments and then everybody being there. It's been quite the ordeal, Mike.
We're happy that you're on this side of it, my friend, and I'm glad you got to bang that gong.
Thank you very, very much, Mike. And I thank you. And I did tell everybody that I've listened to it on the radio, it being gone. You've seen it on TV, and then all of a sudden, I'm watching Kitchener News, and guess who was there? Anyways, Mike, I will let the rest of the people get on. I just wanted to say, beautiful. What a thing to go through, and now in July I'll find out if I beat this, Mike. So love listening to you. All the best to everybody there, and you got a great team there too. And we've been blessed in this world with everything that's been going on, Mike. Have a great one, bro. Catch you later.
All right, Jeff. Farwell's Force member number 19er right there. He was the first guy to get to bang that gong that had just been returned to our Grand River Regional Cancer Center. Great story. And Jeff, we wish you the very best for that next update in July. Glenn is with us on Talkback. Good afternoon, Glenn.
Hello, Mike. Happy Wednesday. What a nice story, and I hope all the best for Jeff. You know, you always hear all this negative about our healthcare system, but boy, the people who actually experience seem to walk away with a different impression. But that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about the 89%. And do you think it has anything to do with election signs being banned?
No, it's got nothing to do. Don't try to put those two things together.
On,
stop.
Mike.
No, stop it. You come on.
Okay, enjoy your 89% then, and don't complain about it, right?
Wait, you're telling... Okay, Glenn.
Yes, I am. I am telling you.
Okay, hang on now. Make it make sense.
I'm not going anywhere.
Okay, build the case. Make it make sense that not having an election sign on Fisher-Holman Road or Ottawa Street led to an 89% pay increase voted on by the councillors when they sit on as chairs on committees. How do those two things connect?
Yes, because it's a part-time job you're being elected to. So there's not a lot of money. So consequently, you can't spend a lot of money to get elected. Thus, if you put election signs on the side, you get maximum exposure for minimum money, and you draw a wide variety of candidates. By banning election signs, what you do, you give a massive advantage to the fellows and ladies who are already voted in, the incumbents is the word I'm looking for, and you make it almost impossible to unseat them. That's my position.
All right, Glenn.
And we should vote on it. The people who actually vote, the citizens who actually pay the taxes, should be able to weigh in on this conversation. But that's just me. And you have a very beautiful day.
Yeah, you too. Weakest argument I have ever heard. Tell you what, when you come to the show, if you want to make an argument, make a better one than Glenn just made. So you got elected by spending less money because you didn't have to put election signs on public roads. You can still use election signs. You have to earn them. You have to knock on somebody's door and say, can I put this sign on your lawn? There's no problem with that as far as I'm concerned. What I didn't like, and what I'm glad we put an end to, is this proliferation. I called it visual vomit. I drive to work every day. I'm like, this is the grossest cityscape I've ever seen, because it's chock full of election signs. It becomes a sign war, which actually benefits the people with money and the means to get those signs. But Glenn's argument, if you were following along, and I was, it cost me less to get elected because I couldn't put signs everywhere. So now I'm going to take more money from the taxpayer. Weakest ass argument I have heard all day. But the day ain't over yet, So try to be better than Glenn. They already get $7,400 extra to be the chair of a committee. Now they think they need, and they've voted for themselves, another $5,500 on top of that $7,400, which is an 89% increase to be the chair of a committee. Stop it. Stop it. And by the way, it's not too late to change your mind. You can reverse that very out-of-touch decision in one motion at an upcoming meeting. Please do that. Liam is next on Talkback. Good afternoon, Liam.
Good afternoon, my friend. Force member 224 here.
Good to hear from you. Thanks for calling in.
Holy marmalade is what I had in mind when I saw the results of the NHL draft lottery yesterday for the Maple Leafs. Something that I definitely wasn't expecting, and I'm sure you're happy as a fellow Maple Leafs fan as well.
About getting the first overall pick?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Okay.
It didn't help when we got Austin Matthews, Liam. Why is it going to help this time? I'm too cynical. Sorry.
Well, I mean, I called in and wanted to hear your opinion. But anyways, thinking about that, I mean, it takes a team effort to win the cup and stuff. And, I mean, at this point, the team has to decide what they need to do if they want to be relevant and stuff. But mark my words, I don't think the current squad is going to be what it is to win the Stanley Cup. There's definitely going to be a change-up and stuff. And now I don't know what the future holds, really, but if they want to be relevant like the Kitchener Rangers, they definitely have to have a group that's willing to put in the work and also have management like Mike McKenzie and Jussi Hokis in order to go to where the distance that the Kitchener Rangers have been able to go.
That's a very good point by you. And I don't mean, like, I'm glad you're excited about it and saying holy marmalade about it. If you're happy, that makes me happy for you. I am just so jaded by all things Toronto Maple Leaf. I don't think one player can change the team's fortunes, and I don't have a whole lot of faith in this particular management group to even do the right thing with the pick. So that's just me. But if the Leafs getting the first overall pick makes you happy, then I'm happy for you. Absolutely. And listen, I should be at least a little happy because it's better than not having the first overall pick, right? But I'm glad that Liam brought that back to our Kitchener Rangers because it's game one of the OHL final tonight. Pre-game coverage starts at 6:30 right here on 570 News Radio as we continue Talkback this afternoon. This is 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Noon to 1 every day, whether you need it or not. We open the phone lines, giving you the chance to talk back at us here on the show. Whatever the issue is you'd like to discuss, we're here for the conversation. Just remember, if you want to build a case for something, don't build it on sand like Glenn tried to earlier. He's still fired up. Look, election signs are not banned. You can still have election signs, as many as you can earn. Print as many election signs as you want. You just have to get the permission to put them on private property. We're simply saying, don't litter the roadside on regional roads or main thoroughfares, public roads, with your lawn signs. Thank you very much. It's really actually a nice thing to do for our community. Sean is next with us, Farwell's Force member number 165. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I'm with you on the signs, by the way.
Of course you are, because you're a sensible person.
Yeah. I want to talk about those stupid electric bikes. I was walking on the sidewalk and I almost got run over by one of those huge electric bikes. I don't know how fast this thing was going, but it's ridiculous. I mean, they have rules and regulations, but if I get hit and have like a life-changing injury, how is that going to be any consolation? I mean, they need to do something about this. It's just getting very, very dangerous.
Sean, you're not wrong. I've been on this soapbox before. I'll just tell you again. In my opinion, and I will state this opinion forcefully, if you are on a vehicle that is operated by a battery, you're not riding a bike. When you ride a bike, you pedal it. That's what you do on a bike. These things that are out there now, lithium-ion batteries have become the death. Look, they will literally become the death of us. Not only are you endangering Sean's life on sidewalks, but you're not getting any actual exercise. Pedal the damn bike. If you're not pedaling, you're not on a bicycle. You're in a vehicle or on a vehicle. Look, I ride a motorcycle. I recognize it's not doing anything for my cardiovascular fitness. It's got a throttle. So does a bike with a battery. You're not riding a bicycle. Anything that has a battery on it, even battery assist, needs to be regulated. You need license, you need insurance, period. Because you ain't riding a bike. Oh, I get fired up about that. The barn door is so wide open, though. I don't know how we're ever going to close it. I've been trying, but I feel like I'm pushing that huge barn door against the ding-dang wind. So what's going on over here? Mary, you are next on Talkback. Good afternoon.
Oh, my goodness me. You are so popular.
Is that what it is?
I can't get in.
Oh, well, you're in now. You're right here.
Yeah, and you know what I did? I went to another number.
Well, see, Mary,
just like you always told me.
Thank you. See, I do. If you can't get through on one line, try another one. Sneaky. You're sneaky, Mary.
Yeah, I'm learning. I'm old, but I'm learning.
Good job.
I just wanted you to know that I am thinking of you today, and you know why.
I do know why, and I appreciate you very much. Thank you.
And I'm hoping that your journey is progressing in a good way, but yes, I wanted you to know I'm thinking of you, I care about you, and go Rangers, go!
Thank you, Mary. That's why Mary is number one on our list of Farwell's Force members. Hey, you can't be number one on the list, but if you would like to join this ever-growing force, by all means, let us know. If you listen for 15 minutes every day, just 15, we're on for, 240 minutes every day. But if you put in 15 minutes of your time into those 240 minutes we have available, it's like 1/16 of the entire show. You are more than welcome to be a member of our growing force. Farwell's Force is a force for good, a force for change, a force to be reckoned with. We are about 400 members strong, and we would be happy to assign a number to you as well if you listen for 15 minutes a day. That's all you got to do, and we'll put you on this list of Farwell's Force members. Drop me an email. I'll hook you up. Mike@570news.com. Reed is with us next on Talkback. Good afternoon, Reed.
Good afternoon, Mr. Farwell. How are you?
I'm doing all right, thanks. How are you?
Not too bad. I got two things to say to you.
Okay.
They're both good things. I don't know about the one, though, but we'll see when we cross that bridge.
Okay, good.
One, good luck tonight on the broadcast. I know you're going to be sitting on the edge of your seat the entire game. I know I will be, too.
That's why I stand in the broadcast booth.
See, you're just thinking ahead.
Yes, sir.
When you jump so high, you hit your head on the ceiling.
That's right.
Two, I know I sent you an email ago a couple of weeks. Are you ready to join the Sabres?
Oh, my gosh. Listen, absolutely in this round, because I have two favorite hockey teams, right? The Toronto Maple Leafs and whoever's playing the team that shall not be named. So I'm with you, buddy. Let's go.
Okay, let's go Sabres, and I hope that your good luck we can beat those damn Canadians.
Okay, listen, here's the thing, Reed. I got a friend, his name's Craig, and he reminded me how bad my luck is in this regard, because at the beginning of the playoffs, you'll remember, I picked Pittsburgh. So I've got no Leafs, and then Pittsburgh got eliminated in the first round. So do you want to reconsider your invitation for me to join the Sabres bandwagon? Because I am a cooler, my friend.
Well, as long as it's better than your Steelers.
Whoa. Now that's a drive-by. Where did that come from?
Hey, this is coming from an angry Bills fan.
All right. Fair enough. Thanks, Reed.
You have a great day, buddy.
You too. Good to hear from you. Listen, if you missed our daily Not Everyone is a Jackwagon segment, did we ever have a great story out of Buffalo? I mean, it's a story that's been told many times because several of you and I have been going back and forth on email about how they play the Canadian national anthem before Sabres games, and the fans in the arena can sing along with "O Canada" because that's how knowledgeable they are about our country. But I played for you some audio that was a really like a rant by comedian Kevin Polloway in Buffalo. And he went on to talk about how longstanding this tradition is, that they play the Canadian national anthem before Sabres games, how much they love Canadians, Ontarians, etc., the great relationship between our two very connected cities, which I guess would be, Fort Erie, Ontario, and Buffalo, New York. Anyway, get the point. Kevin Polloway, look him up online. If you missed it at 10:20 this morning, just go back and find it on the archive later. He put into words far better than I could how much it means, how much Canadians mean to Buffalonians. So I'll jump on that bandwagon, Reed, but I might be bad luck for you. You've been warned. Talkback continues on the Mike Farwell Show, 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. It is a busy day for Talking Back, and hey, that's what this show is for, right? It is the most interactive radio program you will find anywhere in this region. And every day from noon till 1, we open the phone lines wide open to you, so you can share your thoughts on the issues of the day or tell us something that you think should be the issue of the day. Back to the phones. Tom, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Mike. How are we doing today?
I'm doing well, and you?
Not bad. Off work early today. I like my new hours, so it's good. So, a couple of things here. With the instability of gas prices, and you brought this up before in that, I think it's time now the provincial or federal governments come in and say to the Petrocant or the petro companies say that you can only raise your gas prices once, and once every 2 weeks or once a week, but you cannot raise them continuously. And until the market stabilizes, that's all you're going to be allowed to do. Now, you want to lower your gas prices, you can lower them as much as you want, but you cannot raise them more than once in a week or a 2 week span. That's my one point. Second point is with Mr. Austin Matthews, who makes $13.5 million. I think he's been paid very well at Austin, and I don't really see where you can dictate the circumstances, the situation, what the Maple Leafs need to do now. You've been employed for 10 years. You've had a couple good years, a couple bad ones. And if you want to be a Maple Leaf, you've been paid very well to be a Maple Leaf. And if you want to stay, stay. If you don't want to stay, there's the door. You can go.
As long as we don't let him walk like Marner. We need to trade him and get assets back, Tom.
Well, as I'm saying, I think it's time the Leafs, we need an answer. We'd like to have an answer maybe by training camp or by midway through the second half of near the end of your contract. We'd like to know exactly where you're going to go or what you like to do, because you can't let him walk for nothing. And with regards to anybody else, if it's somebody else that has a no move, no trade or no waiver contract, you want to be a Maple Leaf, that's fine, but you're playing in the Marlies. That's all you can do. You'll be playing in the Marlies, and you'll be paid. So that's it. But, hey, we got the number 1 pick. That's good. Rangers are going to play tonight. Let's hope for good luck for the Rangers, and we'll talk to you later, Mike. Have a good one.
All right, Tom. Appreciate the call. I love how we all know how to fix the Toronto Maple Leafs, right? How about Austin Matthews takes the hometown discount? I know his hometown's Phoenix, but why doesn't he take the hometown discount? Now, listen, I've been well paid by these Maple Leafs over all these years. I've made far more money than my performance warrants. I'm going to give a little back so we can sign more players. How about that? Ernie is next on Talkback. Good afternoon, Ernie.
Mike, first off, let's go Rangers, bud.
Let's go Rangers, bud. Big one tonight.
Yeah, so listening to my buddy Tom there talking to you earlier today.
Oh, Tom Korski, yes, with the Blackhawks reporter, yes.
Yeah, I just I got a couple questions here. Like with all the Chinese spying they're talking about, the collection of posts. What's the collection of posts for, Mike? Like why is that necessary?
Well, so these are different things. CSIS has made it clear that there are Chinese spy rings who are attempting to recruit or make dealings with Canadian MPs. That was one story we talked about, and this comes from CSIS. The collection of our social media posts is, I guess, because sometimes we say really awful things online about our MPs, and yes, they are collecting a repository full. I mean, they'd fill a library with it, Ernie.
Wow. So I criticize. I make sure it doesn't pass I'm not doing any hate speech stuff or anything, because we have laws for that already. I don't know. That's a little concerning when they're bringing in basically when they're bringing in the hate speech laws and all these censorship bills that are coming down. They're going to be passing. I mean, the government, our top level of government, is supposed to be the best, like, transparent government, but we're shutting down cameras at committees. We're allowing, well, I'm not saying we're allowing the Chinese to come in and spy. You know what I mean? And you have backroom deals for floor crossers, you know, and I remember our great prime minister here say, like, let's judge us, like, judge me on the price of groceries, and China was our greatest threat to Canada. So what is it now? Are we, like, the transparency is basically, I don't believe in it. Like, thank you for your show, Mike. You know, you talk about that, how it's important, but all these things that are happening now, where is the transparency? And also, too, like, is China our greatest threat anymore? Or are we just are we supposed to nosy up and become buddies with them because Trump is so bad that we can't even manage ourselves anymore? You know?
Fair questions, Ernie. I feel your frustration. I do. And I wish I had an easy answer for you. But transparency, I will completely agree with you on, at all levels of government, is just a buzzword. Ain't nobody following through on it.
Mike, thanks for the Rangers today. I got a reason to smile.
All right, buddy. Good for you. Pre-game at 6:30. In case I haven't reminded you yet, Kitchener Rangers, Barrie Colts, the OHL Championship begins tonight. Grant, good afternoon. You're on Talkback.
Yeah, good afternoon. So that chap that was talking about the political signs, was he also saying that asking for the 89% pay hike?
No, he was just trying to say because you can't put signs on public roadways anymore, that's why the 89% raise got voted upon for committee chairs. I can't make that connection. It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, that doesn't sound...
No, there's no connection there. You're right.
And, yeah, like I said to you before, we all need to get together on May the 20th, either go over Zoom or go in person to that meeting, regional council meeting. And I also found out 2 days before I contacted you about this, that lady that was on the phone with you from regional council, her secretary told me that they hadn't had an increase in 10 years. But whose fault is that? That's their fault.
Well, Grant, here's the thing. And I don't know about no increase in 10 years. I know provincially there was a pay freeze. I know in most of these instances where municipal councils are voting for increases for the next term, it's not for them immediately, it's for the next term. But they have been receiving cost of living increases throughout their existing term. They started a salary 4 years ago. It goes up with some sort of cost of living adjustment annually. And then at the end of the term, they do these adjustments by comparing to other jurisdictions. And what we need to do, like, let me be really clear about this. And it's simple. It's so simple. We need to decide that where the salary is today is a fair, reasonable salary for the position, and then tie all future increases to inflation. End of story. End of story. If the salary that you're earning today for doing the job is acceptable, then we tie all future increases to inflation, so it goes up with inflation every year, and that's it, forevermore. We don't go through these exercises once per term where you play leapfrog over another municipality that's getting more. Because you see, that ladder that you're leapfrogging up to the next rung of, there's no top to it. You just keep going. And as you keep going up that ladder, we keep paying more. And guess who is not getting increases tied to inflation? Most of the damn people paying taxes right now. Not all. Some are very lucky in that regard. But most of us are scraping by. We're making less money today in real dollars than we were 10 years ago. So stop it already. Tie all future increases to inflation. That is a simple, very simple thing to do. And I've been meaning to verify Grant's point. I haven't checked for myself about the May 20th meeting. So I got to get on that. I've been a little distracted. I haven't been doing great jobs because there are multiple jobs and things in the air. But Grant is saying that on May 20th, Regional Council will be meeting again and probably ratifying this 89% increase for committee chairs. So there's an opportunity. I'll just remind council again, any councillor that's listening, even if you're not on regional council and you want to send a note to your colleague on regional council, don't take the increase, reverse it. It's not too late. You don't need 89% more for doing the same damn job. You're already getting a premium of $7,400 to chair a meeting. You don't need 89% more than $7,400. Not in the, I know, grand scheme of things, it's a pittance of the overall budget. You got to think of the optics. You got to demonstrate that you are not out of touch with the people who pay your salary and who voted for you. Stop it. It's not too late to overturn it. Andre, you're next on Talkback.
Game day, baby.
Game day, baby. OHL championship game day.
Yeah, wow, Mike. I was singing a Brantford Bulldog because how great of a season they had months ago, if you remember. And now it's Barrie, and like UC Okas said, it's nice to have a home advantage. I'm not worried at all, but it's going to be a one heck of a 7 game, I think. It's going to finish in Kitchener. 2, Mike, I know you like the Buffalo because you're a Grand Pumbaa, but the thing is that I think you like also your Carolina, that goalie. Oh, boy, he's hot. Unbelievable. It's like if your goalie does, all these saves, then all you have to do is a couple goals, right? So Carolina is unbelievable. 3, Mike, Chef D. I'm hoping that he does kind of like a game day for the team that should not be mentioned. What do you think about that, Mike?
I think it's a terrible idea. I don't think anybody would show up. And I think Carolina, I'm snarky when it comes to my team and the team that shall not be named. I think, isn't the Carolina Hurricanes goalie a former Leafs goalie? Isn't Freddie Anderson playing goal there? I don't know. I can't keep up. My team keeps losing, but my Kitchener Rangers do not. They start the OHL championship tonight versus the Barrie Colts, pregame at 6:30 right here on your home of the Western Conference champion Kitchener Rangers. That'd be 570 News Radio. Talkback continues here on the Mike Farwell Show. 570 News Radio and Rogers TV. Your daily Talkback Hour is your chance to have your say on the issues of the day and the issue you would like to make the issue of the day. Hey, were you listening yesterday when we talked about that bizarre post-game press conference from the Barrie Colts? So imagine this. Your team, as the underdog, had just come back from a 3-1 series deficit and beat the top-ranked Brantford Bulldogs. Best team in the Ontario Hockey League points-wise, basically from the beginning of the season right to the end. They win the Hamilton Spectator Trophy as the top team in the OHL, the Brantford Bulldogs do. And they're up 3-1 in the Eastern Conference Final before Barrie comes back and wins it on the road in Game 7. Monday night in Brantford, the Colts win. And then they gave this bizarre post-game press conference because they were upset that the league would not allow the entire team to come into this itty-bitty room for the post-game press conference. It's always been done, and this gets done in other sports too. The head coach and one player are invited to that press conference. The Colts wanted everybody to be in that room. Everybody was not allowed in that room. So this is what head coach Dylan Smoskowitz and star Barrie Colts player Kayshawn Aitchison said in their post-game press conference.
Coach, words probably escape you after that one. Maybe you can try your best.
No one cares. Work harder.
Kayshawn, big moment for you, a goal tonight. Hostile environment. What can you say about the way your goaltender played in that one?
No one cares. Work harder.
Can you just contrast what you must have been feeling 6 days ago, leaving the arena, losing 6-1, and what you're feeling now?
Yeah, it's a good question. No one cares. Work harder. Really good. No one cares. Work harder.
No, yeah. No one cares. Work harder. Yeah. No one cares. Work harder.
That'll conclude the Barrie Colts portion of tonight's postgame.
Oh, you think that'll conclude it? An absolute sham, an embarrassment, disrespectful to the league and to the assembled media. And I remind you of that because I have just learned that the Barrie Colts have been fined the princely sum of $15,000 for conduct detrimental to the public perception of the league. A $15,000 fine for that nonsense that passed as the Barrie Colts post-game presser the other night. The league says that's detrimental to the public perception of our league. You, Barrie Colts, are fined $15,000. So the Colts come to town tonight, little lighter in the wallet as we get back to the phones here on Talkback. Our good friend Kitchener Cooney, Rob Coon, Environment Canada's own. Listen, Cooney, I know it's your turn to talk, but what are you doing here? Why do you call my show when I'm all fired up about the weather?
I tried. Well, I was going to call yesterday, but didn't get a chance. I'm busy doing admin work, so I'm trying to get stuff done, and it just, it's busy. Couldn't even pick up a phone.
How about you get some sunshine done there, Cooney? How about that? And some mild temperatures. What about that? You know it's May.
Yeah. Take a look outside right now. Can you see the sun?
Not where I am.
Oh, it's sunny here. Just coming out. That pop of showers today, I think, is toast. And yes, I've heard you comment about the weather and complain, and rightfully so. First of all, on a cheerier note, go Rangers, and we missed you at Martini's last night. We were there early. It was 4:15, so I think you showed up after, so we didn't see you in the crowd there. But
I got there about 9:15.
Oh, no wonder. Yeah, well, I was already doing more work, and then I had to go out for a walk run to burn off all those tacos that we ate. They were delicious.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you for supporting Farwell for Hire.
Anytime. So, yeah, I'll just comment about the weather. Despite perception, yes, it's been wetter than normal. I looked up March and April, and it's been a lot wetter than normal, but the average temperature for March and April here has actually been about 1.5 degrees higher than the long-term average. We've had 10 days of 20 or better, but we've had a lot of cold nights, and I think what people forget is all the warm days we had. We had a week in mid-April that was, I think, 5 or 6 days in a row that were near 20. People have seemed to have forgotten that. And also, we've got a frost advisory for tonight, if you've been hearing. That's not unusual for this time of the year. And, yes, it's on the cool side. No doubt about that. It's sort of crappy. I get it. I want summer warmth, too. But I do bring you some good news. I've been looking ahead in the long-range models, and in about 3 weeks from now, they are all starting to show a pattern change. If that does happen, that means I think it's not the long weekend in May, but a few days later. If that happens, I think that's the start of the summer, and we're just going to flip. And as I've mentioned to a number of people, every time we've been cold like this in late April or early May with big frosts and stuff like that, most of the time we have flipped later on in the month, and that very often includes a day or two of 30 degrees. So I can't promise 30 degrees later this month, but it does beginning to look like finally, maybe starting about 3 weeks from now, there's a pattern change coming. And when that happens, it will happen. Believe me, I'm sick of this crap that we're getting us with as well. I think it's going to flip to summer. The exact details and the exact day that will happen, not yet known, but I'm seeing a trend. So there is hope. We have to believe.
We just have to get through the frost warning tonight.
Yeah, and like I say, it's probably going to be dealing with this, the next off and on, the next few nights it's possible. Depends on if it clears. But this time of the year to get frost is not unusual. It is early May, and sometimes we do that, but it's also not unusual to see 28 or 30. So we have to start making up in the warmth. And maybe later this month, we'll be seeing that, and there is hope. It's going to come. We just have to. We'll get through it.
All right, Rob. Thanks for calling today, my friend.
And go Rangers. Maybe we'll see you there tonight.
Look forward to that, too. Cooney's a good guy because I do not treat him well at all. I really don't, as if it's his fault. And he still calls in and shares that hope with us. Later this month, we're going to turn, okay, Mary, quite contrary. You're here for the second time. I'm running out of time today, Mary.
Yeah, no, I know you are.
Okay.
Listen, I have an idea, and I'm old. I'm going to be 83. I'm not into all this new stuff like AI, but I am a bit crazy, and I'm just thought up in my crazy head. Well, how about getting an AI person out of AI as Howie Meeker and Rookie of the Year and scoring goals for
Mary, I don't think artificial intelligence could create something good enough to score goals for the Maple Leafs. That's how down I am on this team. But the team I am not down on, our Kitchener Rangers. The OHL final begins tonight. If you can't be there, be here. Josh Piercy and I have pregame coverage brought to you by Harris Law starting at 6:30 right here on your home of Kitchener Rangers hockey. That's it for today. I invite you to come back tomorrow morning at 9. I'll be here, and you're invited to the conversation again. My name is Mike Farwell. You are a force for good. Bye for now.